All right, all right. Happy Saturday, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. I appreciate it. And also, we do have a contribution. So, you know how we do it. So, let's hit the button. Let's play it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, tonight's panel, we're doing a little bit something different. You know, we normally have the article reaction, but what we're doing, and it is marking 1 year in a few days, actually, George Floyd's murder, because that's what it was. And, you know, on the show here, we do have different articles about different things. And I came across an article, I guess you would say it was fresh off the press, when it came down to Lieutenant, let me see, Ricario. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And when that gentleman, when I saw that video of that gentleman being pepper sprayed, asking calmly, what's going on? What's wrong? I got my hands up. What's going on? Can you tell me something? That just, it tore me up. It really tore me up inside. So I decided, I said, you know what? All these guys I see, they have a lot of time to talk. Let me see who's interested. Who can I find and may be interested in investing some time, and I'm willing to do the work with them to come up with something where they can make themselves safe. It doesn't matter if a person says, oh, well, that never happened to me. Well, I know plenty of men that it has happened to. Some that has lived to tell the tale, some that have not. So I reached out to a couple of guys, and they're here tonight, and they will join in and they will tell you their stories. You know, I don't know, what your faith is or none. Well, whatever you think that. We do have these gentlemen here that are still here to tell the tale. I've heard and read too many times where gentlemen will say that what they would hate to see is the blue lights behind them. Think of all the men that you know, and I know some of you guys, women as well, have known people that have experienced different things. Well, these gentlemen are here tonight to tell their stories, have discussion, and we're going to come up with something. I've already had 2 meetings now, and we're going to put something together. We're going to put something tangible, something you can touch, not just talking hours and hours on a stream. We're going to do something where you can touch it physically so we can save young men, your brothers, your uncles, grandfather, father, sons, as well as yourself. So enough of me talking. So let me bring the gentleman to the stage. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time. I definitely appreciate it. You guys, in no particular order, you go ahead and get started if you like and tell your story. I'll be in the back and I'll share the screen when you ask me to.
Well, let's not everybody rush all at once.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, folks. What's going on, good brothers? Age before beauty. Y'all go right ahead.
Good evening, Supreme Elder. What's going on in Green Gorilla and Chandra?
What's going on?
Who want to go first?
Not me.
Well, I say the man with the crown on his head, let the king start. BMT, go right ahead, bro.
What's going on, everybody? As you
How you doing?
My name is BMT. I know every brother here on the panel. We've all worked together at some point or talk. I'm actually I do armed security as well as teach safety of firearms as well as work with different forms of government. I am ex-military. I'm a father. I grew as a working denizen of South Carolina. Right now, we're dealing with a lot of different issues from the educational towards the judicial side. So I first off want to thank the men that have come, and I look forward to working with you guys to build a cognitive and hard working fellowship and actually addressing these issues. So that's it.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, BMT. I'm going to go ahead and start off since I'm probably the youngest on the panel. I go by JustAskChar. I'm 30 years old. I currently live in North Dakota. Most of the time work on pipeline. And while I've been out here, I've had two interesting personal experiences with the police, and then one I'd like to share with a friend of mine. So one of the interesting experiences I've had with the police, I drive a 1986 Ford Bronco with the nice metal bumper. The metal bumper, because the vehicle was actually originally in Idaho, the metal bumper didn't really have the things so you could put in the license plate on it. So I had the license plate in my windshield, clearly visible, right? Clearly displayed. And I also had the license plate on the back. So, North Dakota wants both of those. One morning on the way to work, I get pulled over by the police. I'm running a little bit, late for work, obviously. And, they decide they're going to pull me over, ask 1,500 questions. Oh, where are you going? What are you doing? Do you know you need to have your license plate on the front of your vehicle? I'm like, well, if this is pretty much a stainless steel bumper, I didn't know. And, I didn't know that you had to drill holes. And, well, yeah, you're supposed to do that. So what are you doing this morning? Where are you going? I'm going to work. Yeah, about that. Well, I'm going to have to write you this ticket because you were going ahead and, you had your license plate in the windshield instead of fixing your front bumper. Even though, I've seen this around town 15 different times in 15 different red pickup trucks because, that's what they do out here, right? But, I get pulled over that morning and, I get asked the litany of questions and I stay calm. I make it to work that morning. Another time I'm rolling through Montana because I took a trip down to Vegas, took a rental, took a trip down to Vegas because I do that from time to time. Coming back through Montana, I set my cruise control to 3 miles an hour above the speed limit. Meanwhile, average speed in Montana is 10 miles above the speed limit because nobody lives out there, and that's the highway speed, right? Everybody speeds in Montana and North Dakota to a certain extent. 10 above is, where they start looking at you for tickets and getting pulled over.
Mm.
Well, that's if you're not black, of course, because, me at 3 over, I get pulled over by the police officer. Yeah, do you know why I pulled you over? I was probably doing about 2, 3 over. Oh, yeah, I clocked you doing 5 over. See, at that point, I realized, I'm being pulled over because I'm black. And then came the litany of questions. So, you got any drugs in the vehicle? No. Do you have anything in the vehicle I would need to search the vehicle for? No. I don't know. This is a rental. No. So, I hand him, the license to registration and, continue going on my way. But the fact is, he felt the need because I was black to ask me, did I have any drugs? Did I have anything that he would need to search the vehicle for?
Hmm.
And meanwhile, there were people who were passing me on that very same stretch of road who did not get pulled over. And to share with you the experience of a friend of mine, this young lady, she was coming back from Colorado because she went with someone she met up here. This is a young black girl. She met up here because she was going to Colorado to the dispensary. They have better varieties out there than they do in the medical dispensaries here in North Dakota. She does have a medical card. And on the way back through, it was Sidney, Montana. She gets pulled over. Well, the guy driving the vehicle gets pulled over, right? And turns out he has drugs in the vehicle. Because this is a white guy. He's got cocaine, heroin, meth, all kinds of stuff in the vehicle. But they basically stop him, ask him to get out. But then when they ask her to get out, they rough her up. And because the vehicle was stopped there, you know, they rough her up. They go ahead and try to pin every single one of the drugs on her because she's black. And obviously, this white boy would have nothing to do. She knew nothing about the guy's drugs in the vehicle. She only knew about the weed she had gotten from the dispensary. And in Montana, weed is recreational, right? And she had a medical card. But they tried to pin every single one of those drugs on her. I actually have, if you guys want me to pull up some of the court documents she sent me, I could actually do that because she was black. She was the passenger in the car, meaning that she wouldn't have been liable for any of that, right? But sure enough, they tried to pin every single one of those charges on her. And she actually asked me if I could help with the lawyer fees because she was looking at, was it 15 different felony counts?
Wow. Wow.
All because, and the reason why they got pulled over was because, you know, there's a black girl in the passenger seat.
Yeah, I know what that is. They
Yeah.
probably thought she was a prostitute.
Yeah, exactly. You know, whoever just said that, we were thinking on the same lines.
Yep.
We got one.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Charles, if you don't mind me asking, brother, I you know, I've never really been to North Dakota, so I'm guessing that there's not very many of melanated folks up there.
It's gotten better in certain areas in the past couple of years, but for the most part, the melanated folks out here are Eritreans, Somalians, Africans, not so many native-born blacks. And when I first came up here in 2013, I would go into Walmart and go to buy something, and a lady would be clutching her kid, right? And the kid's going, ooh, pointing his finger.
Right.
And he's like, is that a black person?
And the United
like they've
States
never
of
seen him
America.
before.
Right. In the United States of America. Picture that.
So yeah, the population, the black population in North Dakota is very low.
Dre?
Hi everybody. Just DeAndre. I got my little channel over there where I do little news and stuff, and I kind of talk about the palm colored people, everybody that's not black, really. I haven't lived in the U.S. for a long time. I live in Japan currently, and I do stuff in entertainment and stuff like that. So I think my worst experience, I'm from Baltimore, but my worst experience with the police wasn't when I was actually in Baltimore. I didn't really pay it any attention because it was just a quality of life. But when I was actually in the military, when I joined the Navy, me and my god sister, she moved down to Virginia way before me. So I was stationed in Virginia, Little Creek base, the Amphib base, and we were going down Virginia Beach. And we were always told, because this is around 2000, we was always told, because they just had that no sailors and stuff on the lawn, right? They had this thing about, you know, Navy people, because the Navy base was around in Norfolk, Virginia Beach. So we were told this thing, if you was black, there were certain places that you shouldn't really be hanging in Virginia, Suffolk, Chesapeake, and Virginia Beach. So we go down to Virginia Beach. It's summertime. Me and my god sister's with me. We go out to the club. I'm about almost 19, and we're rolling out of the club because it's like about 2:30, 2 o'clock. And in Virginia, if you're parking in a parking lot and you don't get your car at the maximum about an hour after the last club closed, they'll tow your car. So, you know, we get to the parking lot, we get the car out. I'm going straight to the highway. So I'm hitting up to the highway, and it's about a 10-minute ride. I see the police, in my rear view, and they're like, you know, they're behind me. So I was like, all right, whatever. I'm with my god sister. So we're almost at the highway exit, and it's getting darker. Next thing you know, the lights come on, pull me over. I'm like, okay, cool. So I get pulled over. He walks up, the officer walks up. I see him as soon as he pulls me over. He gets out of the car because I can see him through my side mirror. So I already turned the light on in my car. I got my license, registration, all of that. I got it in my hand, and I'm looking at my registration, insurance information, everything. I got it in my hand. My god sister's sitting in the passenger seat. You know, we don't got no music on, nothing's going on. I roll down the window. As soon as he says something to me, he says, do you know why I pulled you over? I said, I have no idea, but here's my license, my registration, insurance information. So he says, so he just looks at me, says, okay. So then he takes my license, registration, insurance information. He takes it back to the car. He walks back up to me. He doesn't check in, doesn't look. He looks in my rear, looks in my front, my windshield, and he sees the Department of Defense sticker, right? So he already knows I'm in the military, right? So I ain't got no warrants. Nobody's trying to arrest, nothing. So he looks into the car. Now, earlier that day, my god sister had her cousin's son in the car because we went out to eat lunch. So he had this like lime green water pistol, right? And I guess it fell in between the passenger seat and the front seat. You can see it that it's a toy gun. It's just like a little toy, right? This dude then says, get the fuck out of the car. I turn around and look, there's a 45 caliber Glock in my fucking face. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I basically says it to him, like, what are you doing? Get out of the car. I'll blow your fucking head off. I was like, what are you doing? Get out of the car. I said, okay, I'm going to get out of the car. I didn't know he had a partner in his car. Next thing I know, I said, okay, cool. I'm undoing my seatbelt. I'm about to get out the car. I see someone come out of nowhere and snatch my god sister out of the car. Right? I didn't know that he had a partner with him. So I just see her just get snatched out of the car. So I opened the door and I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Get on the ground now. I was like, yo, why are you touching her? Like you pointing the gun at me and you touch. So he puts his gun away. Then he sprays me in the face with mace. So I can't see. So the only thing I'm thinking, okay, my god sister's here. I'm here. It's two white cops on a dark road. If they're going to kill me, I'm going to make it really hard for them. So when he run, I hear his baton kind of click out. And when he comes up to me, I basically, kind of block it off and I swing. So me and him are actually tussling and duffing. So I'm hearing all of this other stuff, happening. And then somebody just grabbed me, right? And the only thing I hear, I knew it was a black dude. I knew it was a black cop because they, brother, calm down. Brother, calm down. He just grabs me, just grabs me, like, calm down. And he puts me in the car. He puts me in the back seat of his squad car, right? He gets my information. He takes me down to Virginia Beach Station. They rinse me out or whatever. My god sister had to drive my car back to Hampton, because that's where they lived at. So they kept me in holding by myself. My godmother comes, bails me out. My god sister was crying when she saw me the next day. And I didn't know the cop, the brother, he was actually waiting the whole time. And he told me something. He said, brother, don't ever do that again. He said, I understand what you was doing. You was protecting your god sister. But these racist Klan cops down here, they would have shot you in the head and dumped you in the woods. Don't matter if you're in the military or not. He said, I happened to be driving by, coming off the exit, doing the rounds, and I happened to see it. They wasn't going to call back up. That dude's racist as hell, and everybody knows it. And he always messes with military black guys. He always messes with military black guys. He said no matter what you was going to do, he was itching for a reason. So a couple of months later, I got to go to my hearing, because you got in Virginia's a Commonwealth. So wherever it happened that you got to go to that courthouse. So I had to drive all the way from Norfolk down to Virginia Beach courthouse. I go in the courthouse, everybody in there. It's a military parade. Marines, Navy people, Air Force people, everybody in there, right? But everybody that this cop arrested or had to go to traffic court for some type of menial traffic violation, they were black. Didn't matter if it was a black man, black woman, they were black. So when my case came up of everything that went down and they had the evidence and the judge told the bailiff to cut the lights off in the courtroom and saw that the gun glowed after the cop made his you know what I'm saying, got up there and said his statement, the judge said, I don't know how in the hell you can't tell that this is a toy. This is a water gun. What gun glows in the darkness? He said, this is a toy gun. You snatched a girl, a woman out of the car, a college student out of the car. You mishandled a military member, and he had all right to defend himself. He said, but if he was not here, what would the story been? And this is a white judge that said this. And he said, how, and he told everybody in the courtroom, everybody raise your hand that was arrested by this officer. When everybody that raised their hand in the court, in the court room, they all were black in uniform. And you know what the judge did? The judge dismissed everybody's cases. Now, I didn't understand. I was just happy to get it over with. But if I understood what I understood now, all of us could have sued the hell to the poo-poo out of the Commonwealth or the city of Virginia Beach. The next one that I ran into was, it was 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm driving from my house in Hampton to Moon Engineering, which is on the backside of Portsmouth because we're in the shipyards. I got it on cruise control, speed limit's 55. I'm sitting at 50. It's the first of the month. If you've been to Virginia, you know Virginia and Emporia, North Carolina, like speed traps. That's how they make their money. They pull you over, they give you a ticket. That's what it is. And anything over 5 miles per hour is considered reckless driving, so they're going to lock you up, impound your vehicle. So I'm driving 50. Cruise control, got my tunes playing because I got to get into work early. I get pulled over by a cop. I'm in between Chesapeake and Suffolk. I pull over. I happen to be a brother. He walks up. I roll down the window. I look at the brother, said, what can I do for you, officer? And he says, and he leans over. He said, brother, where you going? And I said, I'm going to work. Because he saw my uniform. He said, I know, but where are you coming from? I said, I'm coming from Hampton. He said, look, I can tell by your rank that you don't know any better. You notice there's no cars coming out here, right? I said, yeah. You notice there's a traditional black college, Hampton University, right? Say, yeah. There's Christmas Addicts College, all the black people between Hampton and Newport News, right? Yeah. He said, you notice there's nobody coming this way. Say, yeah. He said, there's a reason why. Do not drive on the Merrimack between Chesapeake and Suffolk between 1 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the morning. A number of racist Klan cops between Suffolk and Chesapeake, and they waiting to catch one of y'all and hang one of y'all. Just last week, they found a dead sailor hung on a tree somewhere in the Suffolk in the woods. Don't do this. He said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ride in front of you and you follow me until you get to the Portsmouth exit. And he was a Suffolk police officer. He's a black brother. This was 2000 that this went down. All of this went down. And that is like when it came to the police, my interactions with the police when it was on some in Baltimore, because we had black police officers, we didn't know any better. So it was just us against them, whatever it was, right? But for the outward racism that you were being hunted just because you're black, you know what I mean? You got to, you know what I'm saying? Because when I would drive into Baltimore and I would have my uniform on, if the police pulled me over, it was no problem. Oh, okay. You know, thank you for your service. You know what I'm saying? Hey, just slow down or whatever. But down there, nah. You black, you can have a uniform on. You can have been Jesus walking. They trying to get you. Whoever want to take next.
Appreciate you sharing that, bro. Yeah, I've been through that area, that speed trap they call Emporia, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Don't that top of I-95 with
Yeah,
clash with 64. Oh
yeah,
hell no.
yeah, yeah. You don't
No.
want to go through there. And you're absolutely right. With all the different military bases and the you got the Little Creek, you got a few of the other ones. You know, predominantly a black area out there. Not to mention, I think the scope is not too far from there, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the scope. Yeah, William, because you go up to 264 and 264. 264 turned into 64, then it turned to 95 south.
Mm,
When you get to the top, it's North Carolina, and then it's Richmond.
right. Mm,
That Y right there. That's
right.
why I used to take 17 to 81 and come up by NAVC on the back end when I would go up to DC and Baltimore. I wouldn't even take 64 anymore because I didn't even want to run into that.
Right. Absolutely. Well, folks, let's welcome Sheed. We here to the panel. What's going on, good brother Sheed? Introduce yourself, my man.
What's going on? No, this is Sheed. We here, and my situation was more or less it was caused by myself. You know, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
We can hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah, I kind of caused a situation myself. Um, young, acting crazy. So I was out with my friend drinking, and went home. So as I'm going home, I'm driving. I actually almost hit an officer on the side of the road. Technically speaking, me and my friend was talking back and forth. I seen the police, pull the guy over. I was actually trying to get over, but oncoming traffic, and it's just a one, two lanes, one going one way, one going the other way. So they actually was on the side where a whole bunch of bushes and stuff. I couldn't get over as much, so I kind of slowed down so the other car can pass. But I was still driving, thinking that the other car was going to slow down just a little bit. So technically speaking, I should have just waited till the car passed, but I just kind of, drinking, not really knowing. I just slid, just drove right by the police officer. To my surprise, get about a little bit down the road, I see the police flying, hitting the horn. Soon as, it was crazy. As soon as he pulled me over, first thing he did, you know, I roll down the window and I, know the process, pulling out wallet and stuff for the ID. He comes to the car and just start punching on me, punching on me. He's like, man, you almost hit me. You almost hit me. He wasn't like the whole situation to be been drinking, all that stuff with none that play. His whole thing was to kind of, lay a little revenge on me. And it was a black guy laying a little revenge on me for actually almost hitting him or almost come to the, point that I could have hurt him and did something to him. So I don't even know if he fully gave the person a ticket or not. But all I know, he just shot up to me, started hitting on me. And the good thing about it was a call came in. And that was the only reason that nothing didn't really happen to me. Because as soon as the call came in, the first thing he was like, man, you lucky. If this one's a homicide or whatever, he said that he was going to deal with me. And, to the situation at hand, I was in the wrong. I could have just, pulled to the side. Nothing would have never occurred. But the whole thing of his, more aggression towards me, just because he had the authority to do it, you know. And sometimes you could be in the wrong and the officers will take it a little bit too far. And even if you're not in the wrong, let's say that situation, like I said, he didn't even know I've been drinking or not. But the point of it was, him just coming at me in that manner because he knew he could, you know. Because I was trying to get one of my friends to come up here because it was a situation with him. This guy, the when he got locked up, he got a DUI with he got the other guy got the DUI, but he was with him, both of them were drunk. So they basically wrote up some paperwork telling him he was banned from East Point, Georgia, like over by the airport area. They told him he was banned, and literally not knowing the law, he just literally thought he couldn't go within East Point city limits or he'd be arrested because that's what they was presenting to him. And him not knowing the law, not knowing nothing, he would always travel over that way and be scared because he thought he would get locked up, not knowing that they couldn't do that to him. But it's just the the whole fear of not knowing the law and process on things to where no one helps. In situations like me getting into it with that officer, with him not even pursuing, if I had a camera or even just recording that altercation, I could have came at him about him being so aggressive towards me. In situations like that, we don't know what to do when the officer is, acting that way. Or even with the law with my friend, as they tried to, put him in a situation where he was banned from that county and stuff like that, or banned from the area. Knowing the law is important. Actually knowing, what you're doing, knowing your rights to a certain degree can help you in certain situations. Even with the aspect of what you were just talking about with the police officers pulling you over, and some of them will be lenient and some of them go full force at you. They tend to kind of play off people who don't really know the law, or kind of just don't even know the basics. They'll run down easy on them because they know they can say anything, run up chump charges. You know, Even with a situation with me, I had got pulled over with a speeding ticket. Officer hit me with the speeding ticket. Luckily, I was in my work truck where I had a GPS on it, where I showed him that the GPS showed me I wasn't speeding. Two tickets, same, a different county. The other county took the ticket and they told me that we are in the business of making money. This was the exact words of the guy who worked at the courthouse. We're at the business of making money. And I told him, I said, well, my radar, your radar said I was speeding, but my GPS said I wasn't. He told me he don't care what it is. I got to pay something. Without me not knowing, I just was like, well, I guess I'll pay $100 because I'm not paying anything more than that. Ultimately, when it came down to it, I had to pay $100 for no reason, which I beat another case because I had the same evidence.
Hmm.
But it's just when it come down to it, not knowing the law and knowing that you just really want it to go away in a sense to where you'll take a plea deal, and that's what I essentially did. He told me to go ahead, give $100, sign this paperwork. It won't show up on your record, and if anything, we'll just give you something small like a seatbelt and throw it out.
Indeed, indeed.
Man, you see, and that's another sign of these cops being crooked, abusing power for personal gain.
Yeah.
Yep, and you're right though, my man. We one thing about the law, we have to know. You have to know your rights, folks. It's too many times we pull up these YouTube streams and we see how these white dudes encounter the policeman. I don't have to talk to you. I don't have to give you any information, and they walk away from it. But with us, as we all can attest so far, just by some of the stories we've heard here tonight, that we don't get the opportunity to just walk away. That's why we're all here right now, because we just didn't what we did shouldn't have been. This is something that shouldn't have been a lasting memory for us. And as we all see right now, whatever happened to us in our encounter with the police, it's been a lasting memory.
Even the walking away, the majority of black people get shot in their back.
Yes. And up next up, my man with the PhD, brother. If you want to head on in and chime in, we're right ahead. Well,
Man, I don't even know where to begin. I first of all, I have an admission to make. I am a convicted felon. So I used to deal drugs. It wasn't something that I had done all my life. I just got into a jam, and I decided the way to get out of the jam was to do what some of the other guys in my neighborhood were doing. So that wasn't my first interaction with the police, though. But that was the most. I wouldn't say the most intense, but it was very intense. So I got a kick in done and performed on my house. I had my wife in the house, 3 kids in the house, and it's about at least 10 SWAT members with assault rifles, waving and pointing them all throughout the house. And it was a traumatic experience. I know I shouldn't have been doing what I was doing, but I take responsibility for that. So that was the most intense encounter I've ever had with the police. But there have been other occasions where I've been driving before and after that incident. But one of the times I was like maybe a block away from my house, and there's a part So I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, the place where Mike Brown got killed, but not exactly. I'm in an area that's a little bit more, uh, poverty stricken than Ferguson, Missouri. But so it's the part that moves right into my block, and you don't have to put on a blinker or anything like that because there is no turn you have to make. But for some reason, the officer said, you didn't put on your blinker, and the car doesn't appear to be registered to you, so we want you to get out. And I'm like, wait a minute, you want me to get out? And so I get out of the car, and then the guy just pulls away. He pulls his pistol on me, tells me to sit on the curb. So while he's got the pistol pulled on me, another officer comes over, and they ask me to, can we go through your pockets and look at your license, your registration, see if you got insurance and all of this kind of stuff. So, I mean, all my neighbors were watching as I was sitting on the curb while, one officer has a gun pointed at my head. So, I mean, it's just so many different incidents. I remember another time that I had an interaction with the police. I was in a friend's house, and his father and him got into an argument, and his father called the police. And for the most part, man, when the police got there, I don't know if he considered me to be part of the problem, but he pulled a gun on me, told me to sit down, and I didn't sit down, I guess, as quickly as he wanted to, so he roughed me up a little bit. And told me the next time I tell you to move, you move. When I jump, you say how high. I'm like God. When I tell you to make a move, you move. And I at that point, man, I couldn't believe it. I was taken aback by, the kind of authority that these people have, man, and the ability to put you in a situation where, you can lose your life. It's just crazy. So those are just some of the instances, that I've undergone. And I've never been involved in a violent crime or anything like that. But the police have the authority to use violence, and sometimes they abuse that right that they have. So those are just some of my experiences.
Appreciate you sharing, my brother, and I appreciate your honesty. But the thing about that is, when you say what the offenses that you had, in some cases we've seen, we've had white folks, and I always bring up Dylan Ruth, to where he was the known perpetrator. He was known to carry a pistol. He was known to have murdered at least 9 people, but still they treated him with kid gloves. And a case that it's been in the news here lately, a young man, they serving a warrant for him selling marijuana, and they swarm on him like it's an insurrection over in Iraq. So there go the difference.
Well, the difference is clear in Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse walks in with a rifle in Kenosha, Wisconsin, from another state. Shoot somebody, the cops hear gunfire, and let him walk past.
It couldn't have been him.
Oh yeah. So we definitely are perceived as being more aggressive, more violent, or more dangerous, more savage than our white counterparts.
Absolutely. And nobody, I don't think no one on this panel here today has led a perfect life. We've all made our mistakes in life, and but the thing about it is, whether right, wrong, or indifferent, there's still a way to handle someone when in a case, when you do break the law. Okay, you play that in that game. Sometimes it comes with that, but there's still no reason to beat you up and grab this God complex about what you just explained a little while ago. That's absolutely it's insane.
Oh, he literally told me he was like God. I couldn't believe it. But I mean, these are the kind of powers that these people have at their disposal, and they're expert witnesses, so they know how to testify and make the story look the way they want it to look. So,
and they commonly lie and shit too, because who is the court gonna believe? The officer of the law or the regular black person who probably committed the crime anyway because he's black?
Anyway, right? Inherently, right.
Well, you got to also think about it like this, right? it's not so much that they're expert witnesses.
They're
It's
expert liars.
well, even that. Think about it. The prosecutors working with them to have them go through and what to say on the stand for the jury or for the court or for the judge, and the judge is in on it too. So it's just this whole circle of buffoonery and debauchery.
Right, the good old boy network, as we call it. We started calling it back in the day. And as I'm looking around the panel here, I see most of you guys are, in your 30s and 40s. So I have a little bit more history on you guys of of dealing with the police. Growing up in South Carolina, there was always police. That's one thing that we were aware of. There was always police here. Matter of fact, the police were so fond of coming in black neighborhoods. We knew them by name. One police in particular, everybody knew him in our town. His name was Cigar. And you didn't want to be out past 7 o'clock at night when Cigar went on patrol, because if he caught you, there was trouble. So growing up in that, but to share personal experience, imagine this: being in the Marine Corps, proud ass Marine. You got your dress blues on. You're looking tight. You got you're dressed to the nine. You're driving from some kind of party or something. I forgot exactly where it was at. And all of a sudden you see blue lights behind you. Was I speeding? Nah, I can't be. Next thing you know, you see the doors open, both sides, pop out on both sides, gun drawn. I'm in uniform. And I don't know if you folks know, I'm not playing on anyone's intelligence, but go look up a Marine Corps dress blue uniform. Just go grab a picture of it when you got time. Tell me, how many black folks would fit that description? If you saw a black man in a Marine Corps uniform and supposedly another black man that fit the description that I was supposed to fit the description that just robbed a liquor store, I'm going to go rob a liquor store in a Marine Corps uniform? It's raining. It's misty. Roads wet. Do you think that he cared that I was dressed to the nine, that I was serving my country? Get on the ground. Spread eagle. Get that uniform nice and dirty. It wasn't about the speeding ticket or whatever they pulled me over for. It wasn't about I fit the description, because it's obvious that I didn't. It was all about, there's a black man in a uniform. Let's disgrace him a little bit. No apologies. But again, ignorance to the law. Did I report it to anyone? No. Young man. I'm figuring right there, like right there. That picture you see right there. Imagine seeing someone, at this time I had corporal stripes. And there's a big red blood stripe that goes down the center of your trousers on both sides. The top of that I have on a white cap. What description would I fit? What was the purpose of putting me on the ground other than to humiliate me, to disgrace me? Nothing more, nothing less.
To prove they felt they had power over you,
over
and they
me.
wanted to exercise that.
Exactly. Now here's another incident that just happened maybe 7 months ago. My family, we own property out here in South Carolina. And every year the same thing happens. Someone sends us a tax, a thing that says you guys owe property taxes. Of course, we don't know that. So what they do is, of course, in South Carolina, when you're on property taxes, they put it in the newspaper or they publish it. And anyone who thinks that they can go buy that property, if you get delinquent on your taxes, can come and buy the property from up under you. So in this case, this is, I wouldn't consider it prime property, but it's an area that's up and growing. So for years, they've been after this property and the timber that surrounds it. About 7 months ago, across the street over there, someone just pulls up in the yard, parks. I'm sitting on my front porch, me and my other brother and my nephew sitting on the front porch. Wait a minute. I walk over to the person sitting in the car. What are you, excuse me, why are you parked here? I'm just doing this. No, this is not a parking lot. This is no, you can go on down the road. You just can't sit here. Okay, bye-bye. Move, please leave. 15 minutes later, 6 police cars show up with her leading the pack. pull onto our property as if we had done something to this woman. When I walked over to the police, they told me, get back. You have nothing to do with this. Y'all excuse my language. Motherfucker, I live here. What's the problem? What are you here for? Um, well, we can't tell you that. Wait a minute. You come onto my property, 6 deep, and you can't tell me why you came here. Did someone make a complaint? Well, you'll have to call the Dorchester County Police Department to get that information. You think they gave me some information when I called Dorchester Police Department? No. You know why I got the information? Because my family's been connected with the sheriff that has been around here forever. His name is Sheriff Carl Knight. And if you folks want to take the time to look him up, see who he is. That's how I found out that this woman had told the police that I had threatened her. White woman, Karen. And what if you think would have been the opposite way? If I would have pulled up on their property and the police would have pulled up on me.
You would have been dead. Because black men have been shot for less.
Right. What if they would have told, what if she decided to get a little bit more nasty and say, he pulled a gun on me?
You wouldn't have had a chance to leave that property alive.
Okay. So when folks tell me that there's good police out there, show me one. I don't care what color you are. Show me one, because there was black and white officers there that day. Show me one. Show me the good police that stopped me in my Marine Corps uniform and laid me on that wet pavement. Show me one. Show me one of the good policemen that stopped any one of these gentlemen on this panel. Nothing wrong with the police department, folks. It's doing exactly what it's designed to do. Hunt us down. For 2 years, just a little while ago, we finally could see a video of what happened to Ronald Green. They murdered that kid. And then they talked about it. You guys, your younger generation, you guys are lucky. There's cameras to help you guys out. My generation, we didn't have that.
And it's unfortunate because we still got, in this day and age, we still got brothers hanging from trees.
What black man you know hangs himself? Is there rare instances of it? Yeah, it is. But we don't do it in public.
No, but yeah, you're right. They do get lined off as suicides.
Think about it. Sandra Bland went to jail, and she was going to a new town, a new state, and a new job. That's somebody that would hang themselves.
That story always troubles me, man.
Yeah. Think about that.
When I hear about that, like her, the way she was so happy, getting a new job, everything just went totally left.
Right.
Even what you were just talking about, the situation back in the day. Go ahead.
Remember the young lady, Sandra, but she was chronicled. She was, I guess she was making a video diary of as she was driving along. Nothing about if you can find the footage of it, I'm sure that I've got it hidden away. But nothing about this young lady's travel said that she was going, or that she had some kind of mental problems about her. This young woman was looking forward to the new life that was ahead of her, and the only thing was wrong with her that day that she ran into a fucked up policeman.
And that's all it takes. One encounter with a police officer.
That's all it takes. And that's why we're all here, because there's 6 of us on this panel. But I guarantee there's 6 more people that's listening to and multiply it. Something's happening to a brother right now as we speak, folks, for no reason.
Yeah, that's even like back in the day. I had teachers in high school, even like uncles and all of them. They told me, they say back, because my family are from Greenville, Georgia. Going down by LaGrange area, and it came to a point where they say at a certain, what's it called, the sundown cities, the Torian Reloaded do talk about those sundown cities. A lot of them around there. Well, when the sun go down, you got to be in the house. If you ain't in the house, anything happen to you, it's almost like you cause it upon yourself.
Right.
you know. And
That,
uncles, they told me stories how you get caught, you get beat. That was
that's
the law. Go
racism in
ahead.
its full effect. You don't
Full
have
effect.
freedom.
Mhm. You know, like I think the craziest thing was when I was in high school, being we went to, like, we had a club thing that we did this state competition against these other schools. So it was my high school, and it was Edmondson High School. I went to Dunbar, and all the rest of the schools were in the county. So we go out to Western Maryland. And the last time I was out to Western Maryland, I played football, and we was playing Fort Hill. And when you drive up to Fort Hill, like, Western Maryland is pretty much West Virginia, but in Maryland, basically. So when you go up to Western Maryland, the only thing that's really up there in Western Maryland is um, pretty much Hagerstown. And the only black person that's up in Hagerstown is you in jail, because that's the penitentiary. That's the state pen, right? So when we're doing that, we're doing this competition. Everything's cool. My teacher comes running in crying because she goes steps outside to check on her car. She gets something out of the car, and she comes running in crying. Right. So it's me and four other of my classmates, and the rest of them are girls, right? So it's like it's 20 of us, but the rest of them are girls. So we're the only boys there. We're only males that are there between both of the black schools. So we asked her what's wrong with her, right? She said something I don't want to look at. She's crying. I ain't never seen my teacher like this. This woman is like 45 years old. She's a nurse, strong woman, but I ain't never seen this woman so hysterical in my life. She started crying and whatever, right? So someone goes gets the other two teachers, and they don't never usually, we know there's something wrong. If all of y'all been in school, when you hear another teacher call a teacher by their first name in front of students, they usually call them by their last name.
Yeah.
Or, whatever. So when they told her, when they say, Tina, calm down, what's wrong, right? And we knew something was going on, so we darted out the front door, right? And she was screaming for us to come back, but we was gone, right? We darted out the door. We looking around, and one of the students, his name was Keith. He looks, what the hell is this, right? And he goes to grab it, and one of the other teachers from the other school, she comes running up, don't touch that. It's evidence. Leave it alone. And we like, what are you talking about? We look around because she had an infinity. We look around, and it was a cross, like someone put a cross in front of her car, right? Put a cross in front of a car with a noose on it.
Oh, wow.
Right? So I'm talking about right at that moment, all of us, I don't know what we was thinking, whatever. We stood in front of her car, right? Like the bumper of her car, like the back bumper of her car, and she was at the door, right? And we stood in front of it. And all the kids came out, right? And we looked at every last one of them kids and teachers, males, females, or whatever, right? And we said, we will go to the penitentiary up the street if we find that any of you white motherfuckers did this. We will hurt you. We will kill you. If you don't find out who did this right now, we gonna have a motherfucking problem. Right? We all said it. We were so upset because we never saw her do that. And to see a woman like that, as nice as she was, as motherly as she was, for her to scream in agony like it was some trauma that we ain't never seen before.
Well, but yeah, unfortunately, Dre, again, things like that, they live with you forever. I mean, I'm sure not only did it affect her, but it affected you as well.
The problem was we couldn't help her.
Mm.
Like, it's, you know, we play sports. We strong. We walk these blocks. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, making it to school, people shooting, dealing with all of this, and we trying to do the right thing, and then we realize, like, we surrounded. We can't even protect just that. And to see this woman break down like that, like, and we the only men there.
Mm.
We the only ones there. Like, everybody's white. And then the black kids that did go to the white schools, right? They're sitting there, and it was girls and other boys, but they was, you know what I'm saying, but from the all black school. We're the only kids from the all black school. We're the only all black school there. There's only 2 black schools there, predominantly black. And these other county schools, and those kids, and the good thing is those kids came on our side and walked across and was hugging the teacher, the other teachers, and all of the stuff. So they called the sheriff, right? The hotel staff called the sheriff. The sheriff comes out there like this wasn't a problem. Like, oh, what? It's a cross. What that supposed to be? That's what he says out of his mouth.
Right.
Right? And the teachers and everybody looked around and was like, what did you just say? What's the problem? It's just what? It's what? What? Did she park here by mistake? I think this was here before she even parked it. We look, everybody looked, right? And one of the teachers said, is this a church?
Huh.
This is a hotel, right? Right? He said, this is a hotel, right? That license plate says Baltimore City on it, right? Everybody else license plate says Baltimore County. That bus right there says what? Baltimore City Public Schools, right?
Hmm.
So you tell me, Mr. Sheriff, Barney Fife, that's what she kept calling him. And you tell me, Mr. Klansman in a uniform, because we all know what that means. Or do you need a history lesson? I need to teach you something. He's like, well, we just going to remove it and we going to investigate.
The bullshit line.
Right. They're always investigating. What do you need to investigate? That's absolutely. I mean, you have the evidence in front of you. What do you do?
So the holder of the conference heard what happened. So what happened is, I don't know where they got this money from or what they did, but they stopped the conference and everybody came out of their hotel rooms or whatever, and then they moved us. Like, they moved us down to, they moved us over from Western Maryland. We drove like, I think 45 minutes over to the Maryland, Pennsylvania line and did it at another hotel that was like adjacent, like it was in the same thing. I think we were staying in the Sheridan, and they moved us over to another Sheridan closer to Pennsylvania over there. So it was a better hotel, but it was when we got there, they got our bags, they was apologizing. The manager came out, they had security come out, just go around the cars, all of that other stuff. But, she went home. She and then when we actually talked to her, when we got back, because our teacher was like, if y'all don't feel like in the competition, during the competition, we say, nah. Matter of fact, we ain't just gonna do the competition. We gonna whip their asses. We gonna take everything. And everybody got first, second, third place. Their faces was fucked up, because we kicked their ass. But when we got back, we all gave our medals to them. We gave every last one of our medals and first place stuff, and she told us what happened to her. What happened to her, how the Klan rolled down on her and her family and ran them out of Florida. Ran them out of Florida. They was in Central Florida. They had land down there, and they had to migrate. And they ran down on them in Florida. Ran them off their property. And that's how they migrated up to Baltimore. and she still get traumatized by that them crosses and the burning and the nooses and stuff like that. That's a trauma for her. She can't take it.
And I would understand that wholeheartedly because again, for those of us that can attest to this, living growing up in South Carolina, in Charleston, South Carolina, Beaufort, and some of these other places, it was commonplace, to know that when the red light came on outside, go in the house because the Klan is riding. They out.
And it's not just at night. It's the fact that even during the daytime, I used to live in Atlanta for a little bit, and certain parts of Atlanta, certain parts, especially in North Florida, you see that Confederate flag. You can almost hear the banjo music and see the crosses.
Right, dueling banjos, down. I honestly, folks, there was a time that I still have books here in the house that my aunt was a teacher, and she taught in all black schools. So some of the books that she kept, they're clearly stamped in there for colored schools only. And these books were, looked like somebody found them on the side of the road, but that's what they gave us to, educate ourselves with, in the public school system here. Austin High School is probably one of the oldest known all black high schools around here, but they, again, just with everything else, they try and whitewash us away from it. So I keep bringing it back to these panels like here without guys like us, and telling the stories like with Dre, with this same thing, not to make any light of it, but like with Bubba Wallace when they found that noose in his stall. They whitewashed it.
Now, speaking of stories being told, I'd like to share the story that lieutenant. I've actually got video of that lieutenant that was pulled over and pepper sprayed, and I want to go through this with you guys.
Okay.
Because it's one thing to hear it; it's another thing to see it in action.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and start this.
You ready?
Now, this is from CNN, but we're going to be stopping at certain parts.
Officer Joe Gutierrez was fired, but we know he was terminated following an internal investigation that found department policy was not followed. Now, the other officer is still employed with Windsor Police. Their body camera footage, along with the personal cell phone video of the man they pulled over, show us what happened in December. Now, we've watched these videos many times to put the story together, and it does not get any easier. Viewers should be warned, this video can be disturbing.
I'm going to pause that for a second and say, if you want your white guilt to get triggered, watch this video.
6:30 p.m., December 5th, 2020. Lieutenant Karan Nazario, driving in his Army fatigues through the small town of Windsor, Virginia, saw flashing lights in his rearview mirror. He wasn't sure why he was being pulled over. According to his lawsuit, he slowed down and put his blinker on, indicating his intention to pull over, but didn't do so for another minute and 40 seconds, which he later explained was in order to find a well-lit area.
Why would he need to find a well-lit area?
Oh, you know why he needed to find a well-lit area.
Wait a minute, a minute and 46 seconds. That's not like a high-speed chase, folks.
No.
A minute and right, a minute and 46 seconds. This what got these cops amped up because he didn't pull over in a minute and 46 seconds after they put the blue lights on it.
Now note that the first thing that came out of that vehicle was cops with guns trained on the driver.
Okay. All too familiar to me.
This is why he had to get to a well-lit area, because he realized, okay, there are cops out here. I don't want to be the next dude hanging from a tree. So he made sure he was in a well-lit area. And this is smart on his part, because him doing this probably saved his life.
Yep.
Driver, roll the window down. Put your hands out the window. Turn the vehicle off. Put your hands out the window.
Hearing these different commands while sitting in his car with his seatbelt on, Nazario began recording from his own cell phone.
This was also another thing.
Changed my life when we.
Oh, my bad.
It doesn't change my.
Lieutenant Karan Nazario, driving in his Army. pulled over. According to his lawsuit, he slowed down and put his blinker on, indicating his intention to pull over, but didn't do so for another minute and 40 seconds, which he later explained was in order to find a well-lit area.
Driver, roll the window down. Put your hands out the window. Turn the vehicle off. Put your hands out the window.
Hearing these different commands while sitting in his car with his seatbelt on, Nazario began recording from his own cell phone and put his hands out the window as ordered. Turns out, Officer Daniel Crocker had not seen the temporary license plate taped to the back window of Nazario's brand new Chevrolet Tahoe. And seeing tinted windows and a driver not stopping right away, Crocker decided it was a high-risk traffic stop.
Okay, now let's stop right there. High-risk traffic stop meaning, oh, we got ourselves a nigga.
This is the problem with mainstream news. They notice how this narrator, notice how she watered down the situation to give the mainstream media, I mean the mainstream public, a little understanding why the policeman acted the way he did.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't make any sense, because
it's bullshit.
Slows down, turns on their flashers, saying, "Hey, you know, I'm going to pull over. I just need to do it with this light." But somebody doing something for their own safety now turns it into a high risk stop.
Okay.
But this was never explained to Nazario, who for several minutes continued to ask why he'd been pulled over.
What's going on?
How many occupants are in your vehicle?
It's only myself. Why are your weapons drawn? What's going on?
Why are your weapons drawn? This is a military man who knows what a threat looks like. And those officers with their guns drawn are now a threat to him. The threat of lethal force is in effect by them. He's done nothing.
Mm-hmm. What's going on?
Get out of the car now!
I'm serving this country and this is how I'm treated?
Music?
Yeah.
DeAndre, you serve the country.
You know, unfortunately, any brother that's probably served in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, and if you served in some of these southern towns, this story is all too familiar to us.
That's normal.
This is normal. They do not like us. And for all you folks that have never seen the movie A Soldier Story, I would suggest that you go back and, you know, if you find it on Netflix or something like that, this will explain a lot of what's going on. This was back in the I think the 50s or something like that. But it's got a whole cast of great actors and black actors in it. If you've never seen the movie A Soldier Story before, Adolf Caesar, this guy, he is the epitome of. You just got to watch the movie.
Now the other thing is that Virginia is where he's at in Virginia because he's coming from the military base. It's even worse around the military bases.
Yes, it is.
You would think it would be better around the military bases if you was black in the military, but it's actually worse.
You know what? Honestly, and I got to speak honestly on this, and I'm sorry if I offend some folks. When a white person tells me thank you for your service, I really want to say, man, fuck you.
Yeah, for real. Like I really.
Do you really feel that way? Because I was always under the impression, not a military man, that military service was respected, and that the law enforcement officers would, give y'all preferential treatment when it came to tickets and.
No, sir, buddy.
No,
that's
I can respond to that a little bit. So think of these wannabe soldiers, right? Who become cops because they don't have the balls to become real soldiers, and then they see a black man in actual uniform.
A lot of these policemen, they're former military cops. They get out and then they, it's a little bit easier road for them to get on a police force because they had that military training. So that same aggressiveness that they had, that they couldn't vent to someone, but especially in my case as a sergeant or you have some other superior NCOs that they have to bow down to. Once I get out of the Marine Corps, once I get out of the Army and the Navy, and I put that police uniform on, I'll show you. I got the power now.
And the other thing is like I said, like when I was in Virginia, it was open season, right? Like actually tickets. If you're around the base, the first thing they do is once they see the Department of Defense sticking in your window, you go into court for a summons. You can't even pay it online. You can't even pay it like you can't just pay the ticket. You're gonna pay the court fee and everything.
Right.
We're gonna hit you extra.
What they do with that is it's a twofold system. Once if you're outside of a military gate and the civilian policemen pull you over, they don't have to call your command to tell them that they have you.
Nope.
So you're literally, if you're not up there, if you're not at your place of duty that next morning, or you're not at that muster for whatever reason, you are considered UA. So now you have military charges that you have to deal with. So they know exactly what they're doing when they stop you.
Yeah.
Oh, and that gets shown here. That this is where it'll come later on when in this video, actually, what you're talking about.
Well, guess what? I'm a veteran too. I learned to obey. Get out of the car.
Wait, I'm going to go back a second here because hear what he says.
It's only myself. Why are your weapons drawn? What's going on?
Get out of the car now.
I'm serving this country, and this is how I'm treated.
Yo, what? Guess what? I'm a veteran too. I learned to obey. Get out of the car.
I learned to obey. Guess what? I'm a veteran too. I learned to obey.
Could have
Body
fooled
camera
me.
footage shows Officer Joe Gutierrez, gun drawn, unfastening the Velcro around what may be his taser at this time.
What's going on?
What's going on is you're fixing to ride the lightning, son.
The lawsuit says Nazar.
You're fixing to ride the lightning, son. You hear that from any person with a gun pointed at you. What does that sound like? Doesn't that sound like an obscure Highlander reference? Ride the lightning, you just got your head chopped off, you just died?
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
But none of this is actual and factual. We were making this up. Remember that?
Yeah.
We were making this up. This only happens in Hollywood movies.
No, he's fixing to ride the lightning. It's fine.
Right.
You know, it sounds like a nice Disney ride when you put it that way, right?
Yeah.
Nazario thought ride the lightning meant he could be killed.
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I
you
ask you
should
what's
be.
going on?
Yeah, you should be. What do you do? What do you do, folks? You fight or flight.
Now, this is the thing I want to point out. You see the other officer here, right? You see the other officer here, the younger one, right? The one that's the junior one. Why does he have a tactical flashlight on a sidearm?
Because he wants to blind the hell out of whoever he's pointing it at.
Like, why do you need a tactical flashlight on a sidearm? Why is this attached to it already in the holster? And why do you need a tactical flashlight on a sidearm when you're sitting in a well-lit gas station? Matter of fact, pointing your weapon at them in a gas station, you can blow everybody up. You can hit one of them pumps, right? I'm just saying. Just pointing
Everything about this video is wrong. Everything.
Yeah.
But you should be, though. You should be.
Yeah.
Just keep that in the back of your mind as this video continues to play.
Now here's the other thing. He, as the partner, they're watching the door, right? If this guy, right? So music, if you can, if I'm doing this correctly, right? In a search and seizure, right? To get the lines of fire right, because he's not even at the right angle. He's actually like parallel to the car. So if he does shoot, he's actually going to shoot his partner before he shoots Lazario that's inside the car.
Yeah.
He needs to be at an angle.
Right.
Right. So basically what they're actually setting up here, while Lazario's talking to this officer, right, that's pointing the gun directly at him, they're setting up here what we call kill shots, well, kill lanes, trajectory with the bullet, right? So basically, if he doesn't come out the car, the officer can pull him out. He can discharge his weapon and actually shoot him from the side.
Head and neck.
Head and neck, but it wouldn't be that he shot him from the back.
Right.
Because he can say a struggle ensued and he was protecting the life of the fellow officer. This is the game that they play.
And those are the, you know, as minuscule as that might be, folks, but those are the things that when you hear the policemen when they say they're trained, these are the tactics that they are trained in. You know, if you're not in the military, a lot of these things, you know, to the naked eye seems like it's just mundane, but if you look at it, and Dre just pointed out something absolutely right, they're setting up for a kill shot. These two are partners, so they know each other. They ride with each other. They talk to each other. Remember back in the day when you were in college or you were in the military, you had that roommate and y'all did everything together. Y'all talked about everything. Think about these. Guarantee you he know everything about his children and when his one wife mad at him so much so if he farted, he know what he had for breakfast. That's how close these two are.
Yes, and you know what both of them know? Oh, here's a nigga in a bright, nice, shiny new vehicle.
Right.
Look at those wheels. Those wheels don't have much wear and tear on them at all.
Right. Let me show you how it's done. Let me show you how it's done. This is the proper way to stop a nigga.
Committed any crimes.
You're being stopped for a traffic violation. You're not cooperating at this point right now. You're under arrest you're being detained.
Oh, wait, you're under arrest. No, you're being detained. You see how quickly he tripped over his words?
But
he's like, I have not committed any crime. So and the thing about it is, traffic stops are not, they're statute violations. They're not actually violations that you get jail time for unless you have like a DUI, at which point they put you in jail for the safety of you and the vehicle and all the other drivers on the road, right? But a minor traffic violation, such as failure to display current registration, which is clearly displayed in his back windshield, right? And had they not come up at him with guns drawn and checked his back windshield, they'd have seen that temporary tag. But, you know.
They didn't want to see it. But look, let me point out one thing. Look at the size of this guy. Is he chasing anybody?
The only thing he's chasing is diabetes.
Is a donut.
Yeah, the only thing he's chasing is diabetes and high blood pressure.
Is he chasing anybody? Think about this. How much bravado would he, without that gun, how much bravado do you think this guy would have?
Now, here's the other thing, right? Look at what they have on. This is a tactical
full
SWAT.
Tactical.
So why as a police officer, you're walking around with full tactical? Look at how many clips he got in there. Is he going to war? Like
the only thing different about this policeman's uniform and a fire team uniform is the camouflage. This one happens to be blue, and in the Marine Corps, a fire team, of course, you know, we wear camouflage. Depends on what area that we're in. But that's the only difference. This is a full tactical uniform. You're absolutely right. When you're going into battle, this is how you would suit up. You're absolutely right.
Now, I'm sorry, but Elder, have you ever held a firearm like this, aiming at a target?
This is one of those movie projections. He almost want to turn the gun sideways. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Like you know what I'm saying? Like they're not even and think about it. I have never, Green Gorilla, have you ever shot a firearm, like a gun?
Oh yeah, I'm a marksman, standing, kneeling, and prone.
So now if all of us touch guns, you know that you properly can't shoot correctly, right?
Put a gun sideways, yeah.
No, you absolutely can't. So all you plan on doing is pulling your hand on that trigger and letting the gun go.
Now look at his elbow. It's not extended. It's not braced. He's not in a firing position. He's in a point blank execution position.
Okay. Yes. One shot to the head. One shot, one kill.
And you see the line where that gun is firing, right neckline or right around chest line.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the issue I have with all of this. I know it's a tough job, I guess. I don't know how tough it is because I've never performed or done it. I know there's some unscrupulous people out there who might hurt the police, but I mean, come on, man.
Well, none of this is warranted in this situation.
It's DEFCON 5 over a traffic violation.
Over a car with no license plate on it.
over a traffic
Possibly.
violation. And
Right.
so,
Right.
I think more than anything else, man, these guys are just upset that this individual didn't do exactly what they wanted him to do when they wanted him to do it.
And
And
that minute and 40 seconds, that's what pissed him off.
No. It's not this individual. This nigga.
well, I get it. I'm trying to keep it. I'm trying to keep it.
100.
No. We can't keep it PC because this is how they're thinking.
This ain't the GG show, so I'm trying not to show out.
No, bro, speak your mind here, bro. Speak your mind. That's why we got
JustAskChar's channel. But it's all about like, okay, so my issue is the police to some degree have always been militarized against black folks, but not to this extent, not to this degree. All this bulletproof vest and all of this the military tactics involved and the people from the military being involved in policing, all of this is connected to the 60s.
Yes, and the war on drugs.
Yeah, but it started in the 60s. It started with the riots in the 1960s. That's when you started to see the militarization of the police, and it's carried over into, the new millennia.
And why you think so, man? Is that when black people really started standing up in the 60s? Is that why the police got more militarized?
I think so.
Well, you had this dude. I don't know if y'all heard of him. This guy called Malcolm X, right? And he was like, by any means necessary. And that was heard across the nation.
That's the thing, and that's dare I say it, but that's where we're at now. That's what we're faced with. I mean, let's be facts and real and realities, folks. Right? None of us want to say it, but it's all in the back of our minds. We want to say it, but we don't want to disrespect the channel that we're on. But we know what it's going to take for these folks to start paying attention to us. Some head busting, some straight head busting. That's the only way. I mean, think about it. How many more marches we gonna have? We done had the Million Man March. We done had the going to a DC March. We done had the BLM March, but we're still hearing the same thing week after week after week. A new video footage of a black man getting choked out, tased out, shot up, dragged. Did y'all see what they did to that brother, man? They handcuffed that brother with shackles on his hands and his feet and then dragged him face down. Did y'all see what they did to that brother?
Yeah, and then lied about it to his family.
And lied about it. Talk about this brother died in a car accident immediately. How does a dead man say, please, I'm your friend?
Well, I'm gonna say this, right? So everybody need to go to jail, right?
Everybody.
And when I mean everybody need to go to jail, both of the cops that did it and the coroner, right?
And the coroners, the courts. The people, that's what the problem is. I know we're focusing on the police, folks, but who gives these motherfuckers this power? Who gives them the power to these prosecutors, these lawmakers? Think what Mitch McConnell and his guys are doing right now. Think about what Marjorie Taylor Greene is walking around every other word out of her mouth to anybody to listen. BLM is a terrorist organization. What do the white folks hear? Black folks are terrorists.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, before the 60s, the end of World War II, most police officers, man, they walked beats. They lived in the areas where, they policed. Mm-hmm. Now you have a military style of policing where, it's almost like the occupation of a territory.
Yes.
And the police, they don't have any interactions with any connection, any engagement with the community that they police. So,
well, this is what the Chinese did in Tiananmen Square. Remember the massacre in Tiananmen Square? Mm-hmm. They couldn't get the Chinese soldiers that lived in that area to fire on their own family members, so they brought soldiers from elsewhere, and they did it gladly.
Right.
Yeah. And here's another thing, right? And I'm glad Green Gorilla said that. You got to realize they started wearing these tactical vests. Really, remember that thing that happened in LA when the white boys was walking down the street with that body armor and giving them that work when they robbed that bank?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, in LA, right, when they had that shootout.
Yeah, when they had that shootout and they didn't have enough firepower
Right, they had to
suppress the
go
white
to
boys.
they had to go to the gun stores.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what this is what you really got to think about it. They're militarized, not really for us, right? They are doing it to us because police been messing with black people for a long time.
That was
Let's
actually
not,
the basis of the police, the slave
that's
patrols.
the slave patrols, right? But they are doing it to they're militarized for the white boys, well, to the dominant society, the white boys, right? You know why? The black people are always the canary in the coal mine. So if I can get this big strapping buck to bow down, what you think I'm gonna do to your frail butt, right? See, it's a thing, right? It's this thing, right? So you'll come under heel. He's not doing anything, but guess what? You can be next. I'll do this to you next. I'll mess with you next, right? Like all of this right here. This is a show of force, right? That uniform, right? Him walking around just like that. Say his gun is in his holster. Him walking around as pudgy as he is, right? Even if you was to shoot him, he's got so much plating and armor on, ain't nothing you can do.
Right, there's nothing that this lieutenant had on him that he was outmanned. He was outmanned 2-1. He was outgunned. They had tasers. They had gun. Would anyone be in this situation be scared? I know I would be scared shitless right about now.
Yeah.
But see, and that's Lieutenant Lazario's credit, because he is calm. He remains calm even though the situation is him under fire.
Right, and that's where that training comes in at, and again, that's what so many of them are mad at. When they let us in the military, they had to let us in on their trade secrets too.
Yep.
Now let's go ahead and continue here.
Hey, you're being detained for
a traffic violation. I do not have to get out the vehicle. You haven't even told me why I'm being stopped.
Okay. Let's go back over that. He said you're being detained for obstruction.
You're being detained for
a traffic violation. I do not have to get out the vehicle. You haven't even told me why I'm being stopped.
About 2 to 3 minutes in, Officer Crocker tried to open the driver's door. In his report, he wrote, quote, "When I attempted to unlock and open the driver's door, the driver assaulted myself by striking my hand away and pulled away."
Where did you see an assault?
Yeah. I did.
A great military man like him, I feel that if he wanted to strike that man's hand, the guy who walked away from that handle by himself, you saw how that happened there? If he wanted to strike that man's hand to break that hand, he'd have struck that hand and broken that hand, wouldn't he have?
As close as he was,
I would open the car door.
Yeah, as close as he was, he could have struck him with the car door.
I'd have got him with the car door. Yep. Right, I'd have got him with the car door. Yes, indeed. Yeah. I'd have opened it with force. Back up. Excuse me, officer.
So did we see any strikes there at all?
None.
No. He actually, if you look at the footage, he actually jerked backwards because the cop was trying to snatch him out of the window. He was trying to grab him first. So he actually jerked back. So that means he's in a defensive position where he's trying to get away from him, like in his own car. Yeah.
I just wanted to point that out because they're lying in the report, and this is the official report. Striking my hand.
Go ahead, Greg. Really? You saying something?
No, I was just saying. All they had to do was tell them why they stopped him.
Yeah.
But I mean, their first course of action is to make people obey.
Right.
And this is for the pretext for killing people is traffic stops and drugs. This is ridiculous, man. As far as I'm concerned. So okay, you run a red light. Okay, one can argue. Okay, you violated some sort of infraction, right?
Yeah.
We get it. You got to pay for it. Whatever. You got to keep the road safe. Okay, get it. Understand it. But this whole idea that you got to obey. This is why the police feel like they are God. They've been given too much power. And I don't know how we can dial this back. We got to learn how to protect ourselves from it. I don't think they're going to ever, kind of roll back the way that they police anymore to a different time because they're full blown into it now. But the only thing you could do is man, just try to find a way to make sure that you know we got to get them cameras, man, and we got to learn you know how to act around them so as to not make them feel threatened. But even if you do, they still going to be threatened anyway, just by you know who it is that you are. You know,
case in point, right here.
Yeah, you got to get home safe. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's the thing. You know, discretion be the better part of valor.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to go ahead and continue this so we can see this in action. How he tries his best not to escalate the situation.
Away from Officer Gutierrez's grip, but in his own body camera footage, Nazario is not seen striking anyone. Crocker's report also says that at this point, Gutierrez, quote, gave several more commands to comply with orders or he would be sprayed with his OC spray, but no such warnings could be heard. Gutierrez just sprayed Nazario.
Did we hear a warning?
Not one.
Nope. Now, this is my thing, right? This is my thing. The other cop comes in, right? Their guns are not drawn anymore. He's got pepper spray. So he went from gun to taser to pepper spray, right? So now you don't fear for your life if you don't went from a gun to a taser to pepper spray, right? So then the other officer was in his face trying to open the door after the other one. So none of you know how to open the car door? None of y'all. The door is rolled down. Right? And he even dipped his hand inside of the car to try to open it, which they violated his rights because now you're actually searching the car. You're actually putting your hand into someone's private property. I'm just saying, I ain't the smartest guy in the world, but these are several violations right here. They didn't even read him his rights. You can't detain somebody without reading their rights. So he's just detaining people. But go ahead and continue to play.
Still without either officer having told Nazario what exactly he was pulled over for.
That's up. That's the car now.
Now, you see how he remained calm even though his eyes and everything was burning. And he tells him that's fucked up. But he remains calm.
I don't even want to reach my seatbelt to you. Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car.
And he tells him, I don't even want to reach my seatbelt to give you an excuse to shoot me.
Now, you see the other officer, you see that look on his face? All right, now we're doing too much.
Right.
Look at that look. Look at that look on his face.
Right, we're doing too much.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, first of all, you see the man, he doesn't just have on a camouflage shirt. This man is a fucking officer in the military.
Okay.
Not an enlisted, not to disrespect anybody who has been or is enlisted, but this motherfucker is a member of the officers club, meaning that he more than likely is a college graduate. Not to say that means that he's more important or he's better morally than anybody else, but there's a certain set of privileges and a certain amount of esteem and honor that somebody's supposed to be extended for being an officer in the military.
Officer and a gentleman.
Yes. I like how you did the PC thing. I'm gonna be real with you. He's better, and the reason he's better because he's an officer. An officer treated with super high esteem. Well, we gotta salute the motherfuckers, even if we don't want to. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you this and tell everybody this, right? I think Jay Shot is in the chat. If I was walking across the street on a military base in uniform or not in uniform, especially in Virginia, where they asshole incarnate, if he comes to a stop at the crosswalk, and if I walk by and I see his decal, I have to stop, turn, and salute the car, and then continue on my way. If I'm in civilian clothes, I gotta stop, put my hand over my heart because he's an officer, and then turn and continue on my way.
Give him a crispy going about your day.
And what's so fucked up about it is, see, more than likely, that police officer was not an officer.
No, he was not.
No, he wasn't.
Because if you're an officer in the military and then you matriculate into the police force, you're going to more than likely be an officer in the police force as opposed to somebody working a beat.
Not only was he not an officer, he wasn't even in the enlisted because he said he was a veteran, but he didn't recognize that this was a military officer. He asked him later, "What are you?" If you're a veteran, you already know this is an officer of some kind, just based on the bars on his collar.
Well, the problem is, you can see how old he is, Elder, right?
40.
40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. right? Most officers at that rank don't look that young back in the day when he was in, and especially one of those niggas, right? Because remember, there was they used to call what they used to call the black officers Mustangs, right? They used to call the high-ranking black officers Mustangs because it was very few far in between you will find them. Right, and usually corps officers usually have their ranking on their on one, that a lieutenant, but they usually have the corpse thing on the other collar. You know what I mean? If they was medical, if they was something else. So if he's on the left side of them, he only see that little medical insignia. He doesn't see the actual lieutenant on the right side. You know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't in the military for so long, shit to change.
Yeah, that white boy, that young white boy, like, damn, man, you just maced this cat, man.
Yeah, you
know,
fucked
like,
up, man. You fucked up, bro.
Man, you just maced this dude, man.
Damn, you fucked up.
We did this shit to a fucking officer in our own army.
So
the thing is, this is how fucked up this is, right?
Go ahead.
So you got people in the military who arguably, I have my issues with military occupations by decree from the U.S. in general. I don't want to get into foreign policy, but but they're supposed to be protecting the entirety of United States civilization from foreign harm, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But then they come home and then they got to be occupied by a military-like force, a pseudo-military-like force that's supposed to be protecting civilians from themselves. Like this shit, that's crazy to me, man. This is where we are now. Over traffic stops and shit, and maybe perhaps theft. I don't know, man. Like it's right now we're at the point where, see, I'm a philosopher, right? So one thing I know is if the guardians of the civilians of any population perceive themselves as disconnected from the people that they're supposed to be protecting, then they become wolves instead of shepherds.
There you go.
So if that just shows that there's internal strife, like people in other countries. Let me just share some information with you, man. Before we go further, look, man, the United States is a country where there are too many fatal shootings of civilian people, white and black. But of course, this is primarily extended towards men more than it is women of any race whatsoever. Okay, understand that. England and Wales, only 55 fatal police shootings have occurred in the past 24 years. But in 2015, there were 59 fatal police shootings that occurred in the U.S. in the first 24 days. Think about, I know you've heard of this place, Iceland, right?
Yes.
Small Scandinavian nation state. Got approximately 300,000 citizens. Only one person has suffered a police death in that country in the past 75 years. Compare that with California, Stockton, California, a U.S. county, god dang go near the same number of people, right? 3 fatal police shootings have been registered in the first 5 months of 2015. Now I'm going back, but why is it that these people in these other countries have policing tactics that don't, result or escalate into police killings?
Well, we can see it right here. We can see it right here. These are the police escalating the situation themselves.
Well, I'm gonna tell you why, right? Right. I live in Japan, right? Do you know 2 years ago it was the first time a police officer discharged his firearm since World War II?
Wow.
They don't have Glocks. They actually have 6-shooters. They actually have revolvers, and they got a little cord on it. They'll beat your ass respectfully, but they won't shoot you.
Right? One thing I do know about the Japanese police: when they come to arrest you, you're guilty.
Yes.
You're guilty.
And I'm gonna let you know something about Japan, right? And the elder music can tell you this, Green Gorilla, and everybody that's listening. They have way more authority than the ones in the States.
Way more.
If they say you guilty, you guilty.
You guilty.
The police,
right.
They the judge on the scene. But here's the thing, right? A police officer that's trained in Tokyo gets the same training if he's in Osaka. It's unilateral, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
if you get fired as a police officer in Tokyo, you can't go run somewhere else in the country and get rehired. They don't play that. I hear a lot. Listen, every time I look on TV, when a police officer does something stupid, they're fired and arrested. They don't play. They don't play. Look, they don't play about that. So every other country in the world, they have unilateral policing. It's not left up to states' rights. The police are a militia. It's in the Constitution, right? They are a militia. They are a state-funded militia. They are a private army. And it's so actually on the Fifth Amendment, technically, when the police do something wrong, they're actually supposed to be treated like the brother with his hands up right here that's been pepper sprayed. They're supposed to be under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. It's in the Constitution. Well, but how do they get away with it? Guess what? They fire them. Once you fire them, guess what? They can plead the Fifth Amendment, and then they can be subject by a jury of their peers. Because they're no longer what? A part of the militia because you fired them.
That's what happened to Derek Chauvin.
Yeah. Just get rid of them.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. Say, you folks, you say what you want to. I know we all celebrate and say we got one, but just think about this. At the same time that Derek Chauvin was going on, the trial was going on, there was another case, and I hate to keep bringing up Ronald Green, but this was 2 years ago.
Yeah, run that. Keep running that, man. I want to see more of that.
You made this way more difficult than it had to be.
Do you see that?
You made me do it.
Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Please talk to me. Get on the ground now. Can you please talk to me about what's going on?
See how they kicked in his knee?
Right.
Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Now, here's
what has he done?
Well, here's another thing, right? Right now, they're actually, and people don't even know this, but I'm gonna point this out. Music know where I'm gonna go with this. They're actually destroying government property.
They absolutely are.
Because when you sign into the military, you are property, you volunteer yourself, you are property of the United States government, right? And actually everything you own is property of the United States government. So that truck that he has is actually property of the United States government once he puts a decal on. So he's a federal agent getting assaulted by a state officer. Just saying.
As technicalities go, you're absolutely right, Dre. If this was doing wartime, he could be charged as such.
Well, actually, this was wartime because the war on terrorism wasn't finished.
There we have it.
But you know he's not going to get charged.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'll let him say it himself.
Why am I being treated like this? Why? You're not cooperating. Get on the ground. Right down, you're going to get tased.
The officers handcuffed Nazario, then stood him back up. He told them his dog was in the back seat and was choking from the pepper spray. Medics arrived and the conversation mellowed.
What would have been a 2-minute traffic stop turned into all this?
Nazario
What would have been a 2-minute traffic stop turned into all this? But how did he do any of this?
Now, hold on now. You notice the conversation mellowed out because his dog was choking from the pepper spray in the back of the car. You know they let them dogs.
Oh, that's right. You know, Karen choked out that dog, but forget about the nigga she called the police on in Central Park.
Right. You want to get the police to your house, tell them there's a dog trapped in the house.
Think about that. A human being has less concern about them, goes through all this, and they're worried about the dog choking instead.
Yeah.
Now, Sharja, can you roll it back just a little bit where you can see just a little bit where the a little bit more, you can see something in like when the hood's up. There's a piece of paper that's in the hood, that's in the window.
Oh wait.
About what's going
Give me a
on.
second. Oh yeah, that's why he got pulled over, because his stuff was displayed.
Right down, you're gonna get tased.
The officers handcuffed Nazario, then stood him back up. He told them his dog was in the back seat and was choking from the.
Let me see if I can catch that right there.
No, just play it. It'll.
He told them his dog was in the back seat and was choking from the pepper spray. Medics arrived and the
there it is.
Right there.
There it is. Right there. Right here. That's his temporary tag.
There's the evidence right there from the officer's body cam footage.
Mellowed.
Wow. Been a 2-minute traffic stop turned into all this.
Nazario explained why.
Did you hear that? That was a white person asking the question. What about a 2-minute traffic stop turned into all this?
He didn't immediately pull over.
I was pulling over to a relevant area for my safety and yours. I have respect for law enforcement.
But Gutierrez said that wasn't the problem.
If I don't what the media is spewing with the race relations between minorities and law enforcement, I get it, okay? So like I told you, as far as you not stopping and because you're uncomfortable and you wanted a well-lit spot, because that happens all the time. It happens to me a lot.
And I'll say it's 80% of the time, not always. It's a minority, but he doesn't feel safe because it's a minority driving.
Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, but Gutierrez, he's a minority.
No. See, he's one of those Hispanics who count themselves as white, so he don't count.
Okay. Greg, really, you got anything with that, bro?
Tragic.
Man, look here, bro. He's trying to explain himself now,
right. And sorry, what can you say? What can you say, Green? I mean, you want to say something, but what can you say? It just the footage speaks for itself, don't it? What the fuck?
Look here, man. This guy, he's in the wrong, man. He fucked up, man.
Right.
And he knows that guy, man, for the most part, wanted to be in a well-lit area. He knows that there's a bunch of tension between police and minorities, and you just created more tension.
More tension. I didn't do this. You did. That's why you brought it up.
Look at Nazario's face as he spews this bullshit at him. Pay close attention to Nazario's face.
80% of the time, not always. 80% of the time.
That's that 1,000-yard.
And while the officers couldn't.
What was that, Dre?
That was that 1,000-yard. Once I get out of here, that's your ass.
That's your ass.
That's that officer. I'm gonna do with everything in my power to destroy your life.
You know you done fucked up, right?
I want to see how it panned out, though. I want to see what was the reason that he was let go and fired and all that, and what he violated in terms of policy.
Oh, okay, yeah. Just go play it.
I understand why Nazario didn't get out of the car as instructed.
Why would you comply?
Nazario said he didn't know why he was being stopped.
I've never looked out the window and saw a gun blazing immediately.
Gutierrez eventually told Nazario that he had a conversation with the chief of police and was giving him the option to let this all go.
There's no need getting this on your record. I don't want to.
Oh. Let me do you a favor and not put this on your record.
Okay.
Because this could be on your military record.
This could be a strike against your military record. Yeah.
But let's continue here.
It's entirely up to you. If you want to fight it and argue, I don't mean disrespectfully, okay? You have that right as a citizen. If that's what you want, we'll charge.
What has he been charged with? Oh, but if that's what you want, we'll charge you. You hear that line of BS?
Yeah. What are you going to charge me with?
But you see the look on Nazario's face.
Would you say Greg, really?
Oh, he's trying to protect himself. At this point, don't fuck with us. We won't fuck with you. Let it go.
Right.
But old boy's like, hold on, wait a minute, dude. Slow up. This is why cameras are important.
Yeah.
But not just video, but also audio. Being able to hear what people say.
Exactly. The
kind of interactions that they're having, that's important. But damn, man. He's making it seem like he's doing him a favor by him asking to let it all go.
If you let this go, if you don't say nothing, I won't say nothing. Won't be on your record. You go ahead and drive away. That's how we lead this. Let the sleeping dog lie, young man. Basically.
But if you don't do that, we'll charge you.
Right.
And
fuck you up.
That's against policy right there.
Right, by the way. Right.
But he spoke to the chief of police because you know that what that white privilege gets you, right? You can do things like talk to the chief of police and say, well, I did speak to the chief of police, and we're buddy, so you wanna fight this? We can take it there. Oh, but wait, there's more. He's gonna say something else. I promise you.
It doesn't change my life one way or the way.
Ooh-wee. Yeah, buddy.
You want to bet?
Well, think about it. The way he said this is normal protocol.
Right.
So
Normal is all I do. I'm gonna do this again tomorrow.
And imagine, and this is my thing. Imagine if Lazario, even if he was calm, imagine if he wasn't in the military and he was just a regular civilian and didn't know any better. You would have never heard of this. Because he was just happy to make it home.
Thank God there's a gas station there. 9 times out of 10, every gas station you go into now, there's several cameras there, so you can't lie.
And you can tell that's a nice neighborhood gas station.
That's good. It's clean. And there ain't no trash on the ground. Did y'all notice that? I didn't even see any oil spots.
No oil spots, no meth addicts, no nothing.
I couldn't find a lot lizard in the background either.
Right. Leans to wonder why they stopped a black man in a nice car in a what neighborhood?
A nice white neighborhood.
White only pies.
I'm going to continue it.
Yeah.
The town of Windsor has also added police department-wide requirements for additional training after this incident, implemented starting in January. Now, the town...
Yeah, we were just going to start police department-wide training in January. Forget that it happened in December. We're going to start training people in January.
My question will be, what you going to train them?
How not to say dumb shit on camera and get
caught? What you going to train them? Because according to you, our police are highly trained. So what are you going to train them? And what else can you train them in?
Civility, man. Yeah.
Manager told CNN.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, look, man, this shit, these guys, man, they just feel like they, it's like the stormtroopers or the SS or some shit, man. These guys feel like Gestapo, man.
Right, that's exactly what it is. Good analogy, the Gestapo. That's exactly what it is.
They march stormtroopers. Like at least the Gestapo had the decency to march them to the gas chamber first.
Right. Look at that footage of that kid that they killed in Elizabeth City. Look how those policemen riding in the town in the back of their trucks with the gun with the long rifles. That looked like that they'll go Sandinista guerrillas back in the 80s, right in the back of the trucks or in Somalia.
They were 4 deep in the back of that pickup truck.
Right.
Guns loaded.
Loaded to the 9 to go catch a cat selling weed.
No, 3 ounces.
Okay.
It was 3 grams of cocaine. 3 grams of cocaine.
Okay.
See, this is the thing, man. Mm-hmm. This whole drug war, we already know that it was the pretext for a whole bunch of stop and frisking policy. Yes. Ramping up, just basically like apartheid. Where are your papers? Like, let me look and see if you got some dope. You're talking about low-level drug dealers, man. Most of them are non-violent. And here's the big thing. Black people are less likely to sell and use hard drugs than white people.
White people. No.
You can't say that about white people.
Known fact.
I don't know any white meth addicts or heroin addicts or no, that just doesn't happen.
Man, it's more cocaine on college campuses than it is in the hood near you.
Who invented ice?
Yes.
Who invented ice?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and look, bro.
Who invented crystal meth?
Man, look, I went to an all-white boy high school, bro. Like one of the most elite high schools in the city of St. Louis, man. And I'm from the hood. I saw more dope at that school. Didn't even know what dope was because I was protected from it. Okay? Never even saw dope. The first time I saw 1/2 pound of weed, man, was a white boy. I was like, what the hell is all that shit, man? Yeah. And, he's got a bong and all this shit in his room, you know what I'm saying, in his house. Like, if you smoking a bong in your fucking house, you in high school, the smell gonna permeate the whole house.
Right. Parents don't even care. Johnny,
look, it's against the law to drink underage, right?
Oh, what?
So
Out
I'm
here in
going
North
to,
Dakota, 12 years old. So what you
man,
talking
look
about?
here, bro. When we graduated from high school, man, they had kegs and shit.
Yep.
I mean, you know, bottles of champagne for fucking high school students, man. These
Sure
white
did.
boys was getting nailed, bro.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, we was there getting nailed with them. I ain't gonna lie, but I mean, but the whole point is, you think our parents would have fucking bought kegs and shit for us, man, to graduate from
No
high
damn
school?
way. Shit.
Hey, you lucky if you got some Mad Dog 2020.
You got a big bowl of punch with oranges floating in it.
Hey
man, shit.
Hey, if your uncle ain't sneak you a sip of that Thunderbird, that's as much as you was gonna get.
Or so if somebody ain't spiked the punch, that's about it. That's the closest you getting to drunk at the high school graduation.
Shit. Somebody gave you some R&R, one of the winos from on the corner.
Right.
Man, that's crazy.
And listen, I remember when we wanted to go, you know, being young, being teenagers, being stupid. When we wanted to get a little drink, get some 211, we couldn't even get the wino because the wino wouldn't do it. Y'all a little bit too young to be drinking. Don't turn out like me.
Don't make me tell your mama on you.
Yeah,
I know your mama.
We had to go and get the crackhead. Hey man, hey, get us something out of the stove. You know what I mean? We had to wait on him so he wouldn't go out the back.
Yeah, we did the same action, man. We did the same action.
You know what I'm saying? We go and he like, hey, go around the corner because they can't see me giving it to you right here. Even the Korean people that was in the store wouldn't sell you no alcohol. Now, they'll sell you some cigarettes, but they wouldn't sell you no alcohol because. So if this is going on in our community, I know what you're talking about with the white folk, with all of that. You know what I'm saying? And then niggas got no fake IDs.
But the difference is, man, is that our communities are heavily policed by these people who have attitudes and that are, you know, so-called dedicated to cleaning. Well, they don't really want to clean anything up, man. It's just about
they got a cowboy syndrome, is what it is. Let's go roll out, and I'm gonna get me a drug bust today.
Yeah,
that frontier settler bullshit.
Yeah, how much you get today? No, I only caught 5 today.
Yeah. Go ahead and play the rest of that, Char, because I think Green Gorilla wanted to see what was the outcome of that in the audience.
Saddened for events like this to cast a negative light on their community. Part of his statement reads, rather than deflect criticism, they've addressed the matter with their personnel administratively.
We should note CNN has not been able to reach either of the officers for comment.
Okay, now I want you to pay attention to her facial expressions because I'm not going to tell you that this is CNN reporter Karen, but this is CNN reporter Karen.
Clear at this time if they do have legal representation. Let me bring in retired U.S. Army Major General Dana Petard. He served as the former Army ground commander.
You look mad.
General, thank you. You're also the author of the book, Hunting the Caliphate. We're glad you're here this morning.
Morning, Poppy. Thank you for having me.
I have to ask you, as someone who served this country, just as Lieutenant Nazario has, you lived in Suffolk, miles away from where this happened. You know the area well, you know the culture very well. Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, as you know, is saying he's very disturbed and angered by this video, as I think anyone waking up to see it is. What did you think as you watched it?
I thought several things. First of all, we don't know all the facts, and that will come out in time. But what we do know, what we saw in the video, was absolutely unacceptable. You're right. I used to live in that area, and I'm familiar with the town of Windsor. That's the route that my family and I used to take to get to North Carolina, to get to I-95. You went through that town, and it just had that reputation of you need to go slow.
Go back to his go back to his opening statement.
All right. Let me see. Is he talking? I think he's talking here. Go ahead.
First of all, we don't know all the facts.
Pause it.
And that will come out in time.
All right.
What facts don't you know?
Oh, you got to be PC there, Elder, because he still got friends.
And there goes the problem. There goes the problem. There's no more facts that needed to be known. Everything was recorded, from the police car to the interaction of the police to the interaction of the man getting out of the car, getting tased, drugged, or whatever. All that's recorded. All this took place in 5 minutes. How much more investigation is needed? What facts? Why would you get on national TV and say we don't know the facts? No, the fact, what you should have said, the facts are that we saw two out of control policemen. That's what we saw here. And until we address that problem, I'm just whistling Dixie. So we're going to talk about something else?
We'll see. He went ahead and assuaged, white America with that first line, so he could continue talking. But he gets better with time. I promise.
I hope so.
But what we do know, what we saw in the video, was absolutely unacceptable. You're right. I used to live in that area, and I'm familiar with the town of Windsor. That's the route that my family and I used to take to get to North Carolina, to get to I-95. You went through that town. And it just had that reputation of you need to go slow because it was almost like a speed trap.
So he does talk about the reputation of the town. He mentions the speed trap, but we all know what that meant. You need to make sure that as a nigga you don't get pulled over. That's what that meant.
Dre, you ever met this guy before?
Hey, look, that dude. Look, everybody knows in Virginia.
Right. So you didn't tell him that, huh? You didn't email him that, right?
Nope. Right. Sure enough did.
I'm just checking to make sure, so it's not coincidence, right?
Nope. Hey, Greg, really see that right there? You got a retired general on CNN saying the same shit I'm saying.
But you know what's crazy though, man? Like another thing that came out of Ferguson and all of the protesting that occurred there was municipalities can't any longer create, and this has been notorious in the city, well, not the city, but the county of St. Louis, because in the city, they don't have the same kind of practices. We don't have speed traps because the police are actually worried about real crime and shit like that. But in these counties, in these small municipalities, most of their revenue would be derived from traffic violations, speeding tickets and, blinking, lights not blinking, or tail lights, or headlights out.
Crossing the yellow line.
Yeah, so that was the way that they made money and derived revenue, the bulk of it, for those municipalities. But the state legislatures passed laws that said you can only make 15% of your city, or your municipality income from these speed traps. So that just it's supposed to like diminish the injustice. Because come on, let's just face it, man. You can't, if you have a city that most of its revenue is coming from traffic violations, dude, there's motherfuckers committing traffic violations all day, every day.
Right.
And primarily it's going to be black folks who are the ones that are going to get all these damn citations, because they're the ones who are traveling through these municipalities, which are primarily black, but most of the police officers are white.
And the black people don't even live. The black people don't live there. They just work there. They don't live in the municipality. They work in the municipality, right? Because we all know that if the police officer that's in one of those counties where it's slow and there's not a lot of crime, the police officers are most likely on a name-to-name basis with the occupants of the said community. They know each other. You know what I'm saying? So, look, at the end of the day, this brother just basically told you that the whole place is a damn speed trap. It's set up. It's set up. You go slow. That means you driving 5 miles below the speed limit. You checking your car like you the QA inspector, and he still will pull you the hell over.
So I'm from St. It's a brother in the chat asking where I'm from. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, man, and I don't live too far away from Ferguson, maybe about 15 minutes away from Ferguson, but I live in Northside St. Louis, man. But in the city, like I said, in my city, you don't have police doing speed traps because there's a lot of murders and robberies and shit like that going on. They don't have time to generate revenue from traffic tickets. So you can speed in the city and you can speed right past the police and they won't really even do anything. But in these counties, man, they got speed traps set up. You can't go there's a lot of clubs in the counties that you got to go through in order to get to them, I was like, man, I'm not even going to the club, bro. I'm not going to the lounge club, nowhere, because I don't want to have to deal with the blowback from, you know, going through these little municipalities and possibly potentially getting pulled over for driving 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. Or shit, I just came from the lounge, so you know I'm drunk.
It's
you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a setup, man. So that's why I said, man, I don't even, like, I would tell my partners if they're going through like Ferguson, Florissant, Belnor, Dalewood, like, I'm like, dude, I'm not going there, bro. I'm gonna chill here tonight, bro. Y'all go kick it. You know?
Hey, Uber is a motherfucker.
Man, wasn't no Ubers back then. Wasn't no
yeah.
Ubers when I was coming through. You know, I'm almost 50. Wasn't no fucking Ubers.
Yeah.
You know, you had to get a taxi, and that bitch was charging $30, $40. I'm like, man, no, sir. You know, I'm just chilling. So, but anyway, man, I mean, we had ways to circumvent it. You know, we could take the highway and then, but the whole point is, people are losing their lives over traffic violations, man. That's some bullshit, bro. Or people are being thrust into dangerous situations with law enforcement where guns are drawn over vehicle and traffic violations. What fucking country other than the United States, man, do you see some shit like this occurring, bro?
Nowhere else. But you know what? I mean, it's America spelled with 3 Ks.
Yeah, they don't even do that. I'm like, shit. Like, they don't even do it this bad in Brazil. They got the favelas. Like, it's bad. Go ahead and play the charge, man.
I remember that, but this is bothersome on several levels. First of all, as a parent, as a father of 2 African American sons who are 27 and 25, you know, around the age of Lieutenant Nazario, when your child gets stopped and you're a person of color, it's not a routine traffic stop.
Right.
There you go.
Child gets stopped, and you're a person of color. It's not a routine traffic stop anymore.
You need to just come out and say black, man. All this person of color shit.
Yeah, that's again. He's softening the blow too much, because I always say, with me, I have 5 sons, and the worst thing that I could that I look when my phone rings, the worst thing that I want to see is a strange number from where my sons live at. That's the worst thing that I could think of.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue.
What we've taught our sons to do is to call somebody, put on your flashers, your blinkers, slow down, pull over. But if it's not well lit, try to get to a well lit place if you can, and then follow the instructions of the officers. Be polite. And in this case, I felt like that's what he was trying to do. Now, the one thing maybe he didn't do is when they said get out of the car, get out of the car. But very confusing situation with the police with their guns drawn on him.
And look at her. You see that blink she did? Like,
what the
how
fuck?
dare you say it's a confusing situation?
Right. Who's confused? Wouldn't you be?
Well, no, because they get to yell and scream at the police officer.
Right. That's the equivalent of somebody. That's shock treatment right there. What are you going to do? Your system is system overload. What are you going to do? You can't run because you're trapped in the car in a seatbelt. So what are you going to do?
But you saw that.
Hold on. Let me say this shit, man. It's just so I can get it out the way, man.
What?
The police are here primarily to protect white women, bro.
Exactly. The number one beneficiary of white supremacy, right there.
Hey, man, if you don't know it, now you know it. If you ain't never heard it, now you don't
know, now you know. Okay.
Right. Baby.
Okay.
So it's like
at all costs.
They're the least incarcerated. They're the least arrested. And they're the ones that feel the safest around these guys, because these guys are their knights.
You know how many white girls I know done got out of a ticket by flashing their titties?
They started that shit in New Orleans, showing their titties for beads.
Hey man, look, I got flashbacks in New Orleans right there. But,
I didn't not to say that I mind, because you know titties are titties, but
But to think of the difference, you know, they can sit there, flash their tits, get out of a traffic violation, right? But we lose our lives in these traffic violations.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, these women know that the police force exists to protect them. That's just what they know.
That's
And
why they called that, like the lady in Central Park that she was screaming, "I'm going to call the police on you," because she knew exactly all she had to do was call 911, and the police was coming to protect her virtue, no matter what she looked like.
White men with guns would show up.
Right,
That's
right.
what she knew.
They was coming to protect her at all costs. It's a strange Negro chasing me. I'm coming.
You know what I'm saying?
this is why, I try to tell black men and black women, if they'll listen, that like don't fucking if it ain't absolutely necessary, don't fucking bring the police into our business, man. You know what I'm saying? Like just don't do it, man, because it could result in our death.
Brother in Kenosha, he was breaking up the fight between his girlfriend and his ex-girlfriend, right?
Yeah. And he
had the kids in the car, shot in the back, paralyzed.
Right. In the back.
In the white, and ain't nothing happened to the cop. Nothing.
Right. Nothing. Okay.
He rolling around in the damn wheelchair.
But when he was in the hospital, paralyzed, they still had him handcuffed to that goddamn
handcuffed. Yeah, I'm getting up. Got 7 bullets in my ass, but I'm getting up and running.
You know what I'm saying? He Jesus, right? I guess he was Doctor Strange. You know, when Doctor Strange, when dude had his back shattered, he used the Force so he could still walk. Yeah, that's what's up. That black magic is crazy.
Okay.
Well, let me continue listening to the general here. Not the YouTube general, of course.
Well,
the actual general.
Not that one.
It's very difficult. They didn't even tell him, why he was being stopped in the first place.
And to your point about, not getting out of the car right when they said to, I mean, let me remind people who may not have seen the whole video, and they should go back and they should watch it all in Natasha Chen's report on it. But when the officer said, get out of the car, he said, I'm honestly afraid to get out of the car. And one of the officers responded, you should be.
Damn. I missed that.
Damn, the white woman pointed it out again. You should be.
Yeah.
The white woman pointed it out. That's what I'm talking about, folks. It's nice to see the general up speaking his mind, but man, put some oomph in it, bro.
Well, you got to do it this way, right? You got to do it this way, right? Because we already been preconditioned, right? The white man ice is cold, the black coffee, white filter, right? Let the white woman say it, because think about it. They're the most protected, so everyone cares when the white woman says it.
Right, she
said it. We gotta listen to her, right?
Right.
Okay.
Lend credence to it, because the pretty white woman said it.
Yes. In the red dress.
Questionable on the pretty, but you know.
Yeah. The blonde hair, blue eyes.
Right. Yeah, I'm just saying, but
Look, the angry black man with the white woman. I'm gonna save you. Like, Dave Chappelle's skit. You can save one little Negro a day.
Hey, where the white women at?
Go ahead.
I mean, that is significant. You should be afraid to get out of the car.
My heart leapt when I heard that, because what we want of our children in that case, adult children, is we want them to come home and come home alive. And that situation could have turned south even more, and it could have been much, much worse. But in many ways, the de-escalation was taking place from Lieutenant's calm behavior, Lieutenant Nazario's calm behavior. The police were not trying to de-escalate, but he was. And part of that may have been his training of the U.S. Army and his overall demeanor, but it was calm.
And what he's saying here is that probably saved his life. That's probably the only reason why he wasn't sitting there in his vehicle or in the ground right now with bullets in him.
Absolutely. Saved his
life.
They
make you take that gas, don't they?
Yeah.
Basic training.
Yeah.
They make you deal with that.
That's the first 2 weeks in Marine Corps basic training. That's what you do, bro. You going in the gas chamber.
I'm gonna tell you another thing. It's the other, and here's the gas chamber. But Elder, y'all probably did this in the Marines too. We did this in force protection and VBSS. So what they do is they take mace and pepper spray, they spray you in the face, and then they attack you so you don't lose your sidearm or your weapon. So while you're blinded, you can defend yourself and keep a hold of your weapon even when you're blinded. So it calms your nerves.
Yeah, that goes to a lot of folks, especially the 0311s, the grunts. That's the next school that they go to once they graduate. That's a little bit more in-depth hand-to-hand combat, where they actually train them to adverse situations like that. You get pepper sprayed or you get maced or whatever. What do you do? How do you react to it? It's pretty intense. It really is. So and you can tell this lieutenant had recently gone through that experience of being pepper sprayed just in his reactions alone. It was something that was really familiar to him.
Now, here's another thing that wasn't shown in the video when there was an extensive video. The lieutenant actually had a sidearm in the car. He actually had a gun in the car because he was just getting off duty. He just came back from deployment. So think about that. He didn't do what they said he did. He didn't stay calm. He would have got shot. Somehow, while they would have digging through the car, they'd have found a weapon and said that he pointed the gun at him because he had a gun in the car, even though that never happened. And then the video footage would have been disappeared, and he'd have just been a crazy nigga with a uniform that lost his mind and had a bad day.
If he stopped in a dark place, that's probably exactly the narrative that would have been told.
Well, they were caught in a lie already. I don't see why they wouldn't have continued.
Right.
And speaking of continuing,
so in fact, his demeanor helped to de-escalate the situation somewhat, as he was trying to.
There is a moment that I think is really important at the end of the, I don't even know what to call this. Confrontation doesn't even fully explain it, but just watch this between the lieutenant and one of the officers, and I want your reaction.
Assault is right.
There's no need getting this on your record. I don't want it on your record. However, it's entirely up to you. If you want to fight it and argue, I mean, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, okay? I mean, you have that right as a citizen. If that's what you want, we'll charge you. It doesn't change my life one way or the way.
In fact, it did. It changed both of their lives, and that officer has been fired. But I just wonder what you make seeing that thing. It doesn't need to be on your record. I mean, it turns out the lieutenant had the temporary license affixed to his rear window.
Yes, he did, and you would have thought that the police officers would have seen that, because that was the whole reason why they gave for stopping him in the first place. I have problems with that. Period. That last interaction. It's almost like he's kind of implying a threat to the young lieutenant's career. And, there's over or nearly 200,000 service members in the entire Hampton Roads area between the Army, Air Force, and obviously the very, very large naval base in Norfolk. So one would have thought that the police were used to interacting with service members. In fact, most service members and leaders, and Lieutenant Nazario is an officer in the United States Army, we're used to working and cooperating with the police. We protect and defend the nation abroad. The police protect and serve here. So we're used to working together. But he did not, or at least one of the officers, if not both of them, did not even give him the credibility of being an officer in the United States Army.
I said that
serving his country, even though he clearly said that.
In
so
uniform.
I have problems with that.
I said that shit, but he's just a nigga in a uniform. He's the monkey in a uniform.
That's exactly what it boils down to.
And I have one more thing I'd like to show. I'm going to go ahead and close this out.
Because if he was a white boy in a uniform, it'd probably been a little different demonstration.
Oh no, he wouldn't even. Listen. If he was a white boy in a uniform, the white boy would have pulled over in the dark spot, right? Then the white boy would have turned around and like, "Why the hell are you stopping me? Oh, we can't see your tags. It's in the fucking back window, you fucking moron."
Right.
You know
That's exactly how that would have went down. Look in the back window, fucking dickweed. Am I free to go now?
Matter of fact, what's your name?
Right.
Your donut
Officer.
boy.
Officer.
What's your name and badge number?
You'll be hearing from my lawyer pretty soon.
Oh no, music. You got to take it a step further. You'll be hearing from my father. He's on the base, and he knows the fucking captain of your, you know what I'm saying, in the precinct.
And also think about this. Think about what the general said. Again, he's speaking nicely. But let me translate what he says. There's 20,000 folks around here in uniform every day. You're a policeman. You mean to tell me you can't discern who is who by now? Really?
I mean, he was wearing the
Goddamn
fatigues.
lie if you say you can't. Yeah, goddamn lie.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no. He said it's 200,000.
200,000. Okay, think about that. So that means you come in contact with somebody on the uniform. Probably, if you're patrolling 8 hours a day, chances are you see somebody in the uniform every 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah. And here's the other crazy part about it, right? Where he's at in Windsor, right? Like he said, you go up to get on 95, right? So NAVC is over there, right? You got Prince George's County, Virginia. You got Prince George's County, Maryland, which is outside of DC. Then you got the Navy base, right?
Right.
The Navy base, it's 3 Navy bases, right? You got Oceana, you got Little Creek, and then you got NOB, right?
Right.
So
right.
you got 2 aircraft carriers alone is 20,000 people. There's 5 aircraft carriers, 4 LHAs, 8 LPDs. Then you got the amphib base that holds 10 ships. Then we ain't talking about
submarine tenders and different things like that.
And then you got the air base, right? Where you got the Marines go with their helicopters and then all of that. And then a full armament of a deployed personnel will actually push into the city of in that area, the Tidewater area, and in Virginia itself. When you talk about a deployment, you're talking about Air Force, Army, Navy, and Marines coming up from Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. So what the hell are you talking about?
Right. Hey, Dre, let me ask you a question. I know you're quite familiar with the area. What do you think is in Mount Trashmore?
Trash? Bodies?
No, it's a silo.
Oh, the missile silo.
Yeah.
That's outside of Mount Trashmore, is outside of Gate 5 on the amphib base. Down on
It's a silo.
Is it Tidewater Drive or Shore
Tidewater Drive? Tidewater Drive, yes. Tidewater Drive. It's a missile silo.
Yeah, I used to live down in Oceanview on 8th Bay.
Yeah. Wow. Small world.
Small world. Don't walk on the beach.
Right.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop about 30 seconds of video that came from the body cam of Derek Chauvin.
Okay.
This is before the infamous kneeling on the neck, but I want to show exactly how this situation started off. Note that George Floyd we still haven't found that counterfeit $20 bill. So supposedly there was a counterfeit $20 bill passed in the grocery store, and George Floyd was now sitting in his vehicle and he's trying to figure out, what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Derek Chauvin is approaching him. You see him here in the body cam and the reflection on the screen. So we'll go from here. And just the first 30 seconds is all I need to show you.
Okay.
To make the explanation.
Let's see your hands.
Hey, man.
Stay in the car. Let me see your other hand.
I'm sorry.
Let me see your other hand. Both hands. Put your fucking hands up right now. Let me see your other hand. Put your hand up there. Put your fucking hand up there. Jesus Christ. Keep your fucking hands on the wheel.
That's all I need to show. How did that go within 15 seconds to a weapon drawn?
Well, the weapon was already drawn. He knocked on the window. He knocked on the window with a mag light. Actually, the mag light was the weapon, the first weapon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's how they approach us, folks, on any given Sunday.
So is it any wonder that George Floyd died that day with that approach?
No, none at all.
And look, all of this for a fucking $20 bill.
$20. That's the value of his life.
Well, here's the other thing that you have to understand, right? There was no $20 bill in George Floyd's possession. You know why it wasn't? Because he used his card to pay for shit. He had the receipt sitting right there in the glove, right there on the side, because he was looking at it.
Mm.
So the $20 bill wasn't him. Whoever it wasn't him. But he was sitting outside, and he fit the description of a black man that looked like a crackhead. But Chauvin knew who the fuck he was, and Floyd knew who the fuck he was, because Floyd, when he looked at him, he like, God damn it. If you listen to his reaction, that's a cop that you know who that is.
Listen,
and you know he out there fucking with people.
Bottom line is, Dre, I don't know why this was never brought up in court, but remember, those two worked at the same bar.
Yep.
How the fuck did you not know that, man? If once you saw George Floyd, would you forget him?
Nope.
Hell no. Them motherfuckers knew each other, bro. Ain't no way you can work at somebody. But then, if you know the man, why you riding them like that?
Exactly. They knew each other from that club. They knew each other.
Yep. And when you look at Floyd, he said, "Man, I ain't do nothing." And he knew. And when he looked like, "Yo, I ain't do." And when he looked at him, he knew who he was. He said,
Right.
"God damn it,
damn it,
man, I ain't do nothing."
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised you fucking with me.
I think I know what the issue is, man. You know, George Floyd, man, be hitting them white chicks.
Thank you very much, Green Gorilla, man. We think just alike. As I said that in one of my shows, that's what it was. Is George Floyd, big black guy, getting all the attention at the club. I mean, think about it. You see George Floyd in a tank top, muscles, tall guy, and then you see Derek Chauvin, slumped over, pale white dude. Who getting the action in the club?
He's getting the action.
Okay.
He's and it was already reported that the club owner and all the patrons loved him, and Chauvin would always do extra shit. Floyd would de-escalate shit.
Right. We always stayed away from Derek Chauvin because he meant trouble. Why wasn't this lady, this bar owner brought in that courtroom?
Yeah.
Why was she not there?
Oh, because he would have been. They'd have put him underneath the jail because then they would have been able to charge him with premeditated assault. It'd have been premeditated, and they would have linked everything together, and then they would have to dig, and they'd get all the text messages that was going back and forth in that club, and the other officers that work at that club. Now, this is my thing. You making how much money? About 6 figures, right? You and your wife was running some poo-poo real estate operation. You got all these houses. You got a real estate company that's coming out of Florida, right? Then why are you moonlighting as a security guard at a nightclub on your off day?
Mismanagement.
Sound like he got an addiction to some shit to me.
Yeah, he got addiction to a pretty woman that he got to pay that money for. You know how Eddie Murphy said it in that movie? What's that, Trading Places? And judging by the pearls on her neck, you're going to need every bit of money to keep her happy.
Yep, exactly.
You know, he did get his trophy Ling, right?
Right. He got her. Shit, and you see where she at now.
With half his shit, all of his shit,
all of it.
All of it.
He can't use none of it.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, folks. Speaking of, if you let me share this video with you, and I gotta say, this next video is quite graphic. You know, I know we've been talking about the brothers a little bit, but this video involves a sister, and you know, I know we all say that, you know, that some of our sisters we shouldn't protect at all costs, even though, you know, strippers or the ladies that walk the streets or whatever, but they're still in our folds. And even in white America, folks, like in the case of Kyle Rittenhouse, they protect their own.
Yeah.
They watched this young fella, animal, I should say, shoot somebody. And then a Hollywood actor went and bailed him out.
Yep.
Peace extended clips. I see you in there.
Right. Ricky Schroeder. Remember him? Silver Spoons.
Yeah, that dude.
Ricky Schroeder. Yeah.
Right. I remember him. Went bailed Kyle Rittenhouse out. Put up a GoFundMe. Made him some money.
Yep.
So let me share this video with you folks right quick. And again, I gotta say it's quite graphic. And the video will speak for itself here in just a minute. Let me pull it up here right quickly.
Let people know that, first of all, let officers know that if they're going to do bad stuff like that, it's not going to be accepted.
Cop out.
Comment?
Former Miami Gardens police officer Jordy Martell spent his Thursday in jail before bonding out and being greeted by cameras and microphones.
Why is you kneeing on her neck?
Because of this.
Why is you kneeing on her neck? Why you kneeing on her?
A strip club shocker in January in the Tootsie's Cabaret parking lot.
Get back!
It's where 32-year-old Sophia Satchel, who was pregnant at the time, was taken into custody, tased, and arrested after a confrontation with Tootsie's staff. Her encounter with then Officer Martell, who worked a detail that night, shouldn't have gone down this way, according to Miami-Dade's state attorney.
Martell allegedly used excessive force by putting his knee on Miss Satchel's neck.
Why is you kneeing on her neck?
But he was tasing her stomach and she's pregnant.
Thank you very much. I was waiting to see how long someone would say that.
Yeah.
This woman is pregnant and he literally has this taser in the middle of her stomach.
Tasing her. And with a knee on the neck.
With a knee on her neck.
Man,
she's screaming.
Yeah, you better understand, man. These people, man, they
animals.
Hey, look, I perceive this, man, as, you know, a slow form of genocide. That's how I see it. And you know, the men are the ones who get targeted the most, but you know, women will also from time to time get targeted.
Yes.
And you better, you know, some women don't believe this, but some black women don't believe this, but these people don't love y'all either. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, I will say this. You have a lot of people who have the quote-unquote swirling community in their heads, but let's ask them, what percentage of black women are getting married out?
Shit. Like, to be honest with you, if you
less than 10%?
Shit, it's less than that because me and Cerulli sat back one day, we were talking, and we pulled up the numbers, right? And in the community of black people getting married and the ones that are date outside, it's actually 5% of the population. And then if you take that 5%, 85% of that 5% are men.
Yeah.
So basically it's less than 1% of black women that are marrying outside of their race. And it's actually like a 5% or 10% of, but it's actually 5% of black people as a whole don't date other or marry other black people outside of their race. And then when you go through that percentage, majority of those that do date outside of their race or marry outside of their race, half of those are usually outside the country. Yeah. So basically their wives are actually either they met them outside of the country, which is, you know what I'm saying, or they live outside of the country. Like I live outside of the country. So it's a different ballgame with me. But so that basically means that black people aren't doing that. What it is the push of interracial dating is actually for the dominant society, preferably the white women. Because they're not having babies. And because, you know, Green Gorilla said it, if they having all these frat parties, they getting all these damn abortions. So if they're getting all these damn abortions, guess what? They're becoming infertile more than what they already are. And the only way to push that fertility up or have a high chance of doing what is to jump on the black bandwagon.
Well, you know, the average African woman before they instituted things such as feminism and schooling had what, 7 children, and was it 5? Only 5 survived.
Yep.
If that's not fertility, I don't know what is.
Yep.
So let's continue with this tragedy, folks. Again, I got to say this is rough to watch, but again, well, I'll let it speak for itself.
Catherine Fernandez-Rundle says there was another violation.
Whatever you want to do, pull me out the car, go ahead.
He went into Satchel's car without any evidence that Satchel had committed a crime.
Don't reach in my car.
Why is y'all doing all that?
You can't reach in my car.
Once Martell reaches in, he appears to pull Satchel out. Their struggle seen on police body camera footage. Once on the ground, Satchel is zapped with a stun gun. Martell was arrested yesterday, charged with battery and official misconduct.
Did anyone hear the male's voice in the background?
I didn't hear it.
I didn't. Go ahead and replay it.
Oh, you talking about the one where you like, why y'all doing all that?
Yeah.
Martell was arrested yesterday, charged with battery and official misconduct. Satchel's.
Yeah, what was she charged with, or what was she suspected
Arrested
of
yesterday,
doing?
charged with battery and official misconduct.
She wasn't charged with anything.
Yeah, he was charged with it because of the video, but that male or the
Ground.
Okay, listen.
Satchel is zapped with a stun gun. Martell was arrested yesterday, charged with battery and.
Go far enough back.
Yeah, I think it was when they was in the car. I think when he was reaching
on the ground. Their struggles seen on police body camera footage. Once on the ground. Satchel is zapped with a stun gun.
Okay,
Martell
the
was
point of the
arrested
matter is,
yesterday,
I wanted
charged-
you to hear the male's voice. Now, at some point in time, your male testosterone level should kick in. And again, with all the witnesses we saw at George Floyd, we understand why none of those folks intervened. But in this case, you know this woman is pregnant. You see her getting tased. You hear her screaming in agony and pain, and your male testosterone don't kick in enough to kick this motherfucker off of her.
Well, the reason why is he's a part of the identify as a toaster community. Because you heard that, right? Like I you know, man, I knew it was one of the toaster people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, what this is, you know, she's, and if you look at this right here, right, it's two cops, right? It's two cops. It's two cops. It's one at the bottom of her, the one at the got the knee on the neck, and he's got if you can put a knee on someone's neck and then pull out a taser and tase them at the same time, you have control of it.
Looking at her, how much does she weigh, folks? At best, right, next to nothing. Maybe 125, 130 pounds soaking wet. Look at the size of these police officers. What threat is does she pose? First of all, that she has committed no crime. They went into her car unlawfully. They tased her unlawfully.
Well, they went into a car, they pulled her out of the car, and then they got the knee on the neck, and then
Right, everything. Again, imagine if somebody wouldn't have had a cell phone, or she was alone. Would we see it? Would this would be the story that would be promoted? Remember, George Floyd, it said he had an incident while being arrested. There was nothing mentioned about the 9 minutes and some change that Derek Chauvin kneeled on his neck.
Well, the other thing is, I didn't know until the trial that there was another person in the car in the passenger seat.
No one knew that either.
Until the trial happened.
Two other people.
Yeah, it was one in the back seat and one in the passenger seat.
Yes. Ronald Green, the initial report that when the sheriff county called the first person, which was his sister, they told them that Ronald Green died fleeing from the police. He hit a tree and died on impact. 2 years later, this video footage shows up.
Yep. Now, as you play it, LD, please stop it when they show the police officer.
Okay.
Black dude.
With battery and official misconduct.
Their
Satchel's attorney.
Yeah, right there. Okay. Now, let me ask you a question, right? I was in the military. You in the military, right? So when I got out the military, right, they started making some things with, with the tattoos, right? Look at the tattoos on his arms.
He looks like a former Marine.
Right? Now,
He
this is my
absolutely does.
This is my thing. If he didn't have that uniform on and he had a flannel on him.
He would
Well,
look like
are you trying to say that he's gonna be one of them goddamn redneck race riot
he
people?
would look like a skinhead.
Yes. Yes.
Well, why you got to say something about him going ahead and charge the Capitol in Washington D.C. on January 6th?
If you look at him, he, remember, we all know this or whatever. Greg Gorilla, Sergeant, Elder, whatever. We all know a cop used to look like a cop back in the day.
1 Adam 12, remember?
Yeah, cops didn't look like this. Cops didn't have tattoos all up and down their arms, right? Actually, they used to have to wear long sleeve shirts, and then they had short sleeve shirts. What uniform is this? Other than this uniform, look like he's a mercenary.
Well, he is a mercenary for white supremacy.
Soldier of fortune. Just like my man said earlier, they're out there to protect white women at all costs. You're not going to infiltrate white women, although, and I'm going to go off the mainstream a little bit, but for all of us who say you never watch porn, stop lying. First of all, go look up porn and see what's the #1 porn being watched right now. Interracial porn. Black man serving up white woman.
Yep. That's what it is. That's what it is. I'm just saying, just look at those tattoos. You know what I mean? Like, those tattoos show you prime military, but look how far up. And then he's got them on both arms. So that's a multi-deployment.
All right, that's called sleeve. He's been sleeving.
Yep. That's multi-deployment right there. Right? He's got it around his wrist. So even when he puts on his watch, and technically, what they teach you, even when I'm in the Navy, that you don't supposed to get it past a certain point on your arm so you can roll up your sleeves.
Well, he would be in the military. You're absolutely right, Dre. He would be in violation. He would never be able to wear a summer service uniform because he has tattoos all the way up to his wrist. That means every time he wore a service uniform, or if he was in his camouflage utilities, as we call them in the Marine Corps, BTUs, he would always have to have his sleeves rolled down based on the tattoos there. Right now, if more than likely, this is probably one of the reasons he is a former Marine, because he's in violation of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Actually, this is called he is defaming government property.
Exactly. And then that inside tattoo. If you look at that tattoo that's in the inside of his arm or his forearm, that's a deployment tattoo. That's what they get.
Yeah.
And the ones that get those tattoos, they call them the killers, the hit squad.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's lost my place here. Here we go. Let me continue.
A statement saying, in part, the days of shuffling aside these videos of police misconduct are soon behind us. As a community and a nation, we are pleased to see swift action taken by the authorities against this former officer. Martel is no stranger to trouble on the job. Martel appears in cell phone video during this incident in March at a Miami Gardens racetrack. The Miami Gardens chief of police called this rough arrest egregious behavior and said it wouldn't be tolerated.
Wait, that's a black person. That is a person of color.
Martel and another.
See, there goes again, Chandra, and you're absolutely right. In the case of Derek Chauvin, his record was not allowed to be brought into court. But if we would have stepped back all the way to 2014, I think maybe 2014, 2015, we'd have seen that Derek Chauvin was did the very same thing that he did to George Floyd is the very same thing that he did to a 14-year-old black kid in his house.
Yep.
Why was he allowed to stay on the force this long? This is not, according to what we just saw in the first part of this video. Here it is, another incident of this policeman clearly breaking the rules, but yet he's allowed to continue onto the force until the point you're either going to kill somebody or you do something so egregious that they have to release you. You can't defend this.
I gotta echo you. Where are the good cops?
Right, where are they?
Well,
because you notice there's two policemen standing right here.
Well, I do got a question. This was in Miami. The incident that happened was in where?
I think this was in somewhere in Florida as well. The same.
So was Miami Gardens.
Right, Miami Gardens, the same policeman. So whatever the beat that he's controlling, this is part of his beat. So this is maybe maybe a different part of town, but it's the same town.
So I think this was I think the racetrack is in Dade County.
Yeah,
I
Miami
think so.
Dade County, same area.
Yeah,
though.
Miami-Dade County. Yeah, wherever Miami Gardens is.
Yeah, so Miami Gardens, Miami-Dade County. So what I'm basically saying is if it's in the same area, but then if you break it up, because remember, Florida's a commonwealth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way you know how commonwealths work is each county, each city is its own little municipality, right? So if this happened in March and he was relieved of duty, he just moved to another county or municipality, which is a whole clean slate.
And continued working. His record didn't follow. Absolute good point. So is this a different police department he's under, or is this these same activities done under the same municipality? Which one is it? Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah.
Officer on this scene, Javier Castano, were fired.
Why is y'all tasing her?
But in the Tootsies takedown, this video might not have ever been seen if the photographer had listened to the Tootsies employee asking for the footage to be deleted.
No.
Like this is
Can you please delete it?
I swear.
By the way,
notice that. Can you please delete it? Can you please delete it? Did that look like a white man, or did that look like a brother?
What it is
he looked kind of Arab to me, but you know,
yeah,
it don't care as long as the black person getting beat.
So basically, he's a sand nigga.
Yeah, but you know what it is.
Yeah, see, that looks pretty Arab to me.
Yeah,
look like DJ Khaled.
Yeah, we the baddest.
But you know what that is why would he ask to delete it? You know why he would ask to delete it? Now here's my thing: why would a woman that's a stripper come to a strip club, right?
Where she gets tased and beat the shit out of her outside.
But she was working at the strip club, and if she's pregnant and pregnant, why would a person come to their job and have a problem unless they're not getting paid, unless something happened to them, right?
Yeah.
And then if he's saying delete it, that means he called a particular cop, right? And then the cop, and they're in cahoots, because guess what? Now he will get pressure because the cop is in cahoots with him, because that cop happens to be what? He happens to work there also.
On the payroll.
On the payroll on his off day.
Another point. Good point.
to be deleted.
No.
Like this is
Can you please delete it?
I swear.
By the way, all charges against Sophia Satchel have been dropped.
Are you stupid or
Yeah,
something?
all charges against her have been dropped at the risk of her child. And
right, all charges have been dropped. What charges would they ever she should have ever encountered? No. What charges would you put on her? Asking a question?
Resisting arrest, because you know that's the catch-all for black people.
Right.
Stop resisting. Wait, what? Why am I under arrest? Stop resisting.
Stupid is as stupid does. Again, we all got to go back to the main thing, folks. Who gives these people power? Folks like Mitch McConnell, folks like Kevin, whatever his name is. These are the folks that these stormtroopers are the gatekeepers to these folks like this, to keep us away from their way of living. They're not dead yet. Think about this. Most of the people in the Senate right now lived in a time to where the majority of us that's talking right now could not go to a public school without a problem.
True.
I'm living history that lady that first integrated the school system in Alabama. I'm sure some of her children are probably either my age or a little bit younger.
Now, here's the thing. I just looked this up. I'm not going to put this up here on Char's channel, but I just looked up Tootsie's, right? Cabaret Club, right? First, when you look at it, when you go and look at it, there's no black people on it, right? There's number white women on there, right? Number one club in Miami. Now, this is the dress code, and it's strictly enforced. Neat casual wear. No rude, vulgar, or offensive clothing. No nigger clothing. right? No excessive baggy clothing, no niggas. No pants below the waistline, no
No
niggas.
niggas.
No sleeveless shirts, no niggas.
No niggas.
No house slippers, no niggas.
No niggas.
No athletic wear, no niggas.
No niggas.
No skull caps, no niggas.
No niggas.
No do-rags, definitely no niggas.
Do-rags. Well, do.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, and just to let you know, the write-up on this strip club, right? Tootsie's has full nudity, four full liquor bars, 400 plus square footage main stage, over 300 HD television screens, and more. This is just a write-up on it, right?
There goes so much for the dress code. Full nudity, huh?
Now, guess what the strip club is sitting on, y'all? Bank of America Drive. And there's a Bank of America drive-through ATM across the street from the strip club. So, of course, the police are on the payroll.
House. Yes, sir. There's some hoes in this house.
Listen, they just basically said, ain't no niggas coming in this strip club.
No.
And obviously they had problems paying niggas that tripped.
Right, and unless you worked there.
Well, no, but she was in there fighting for her pay, most likely. So
right, stripper. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna call the man on you. Get on up out of here. Get on out of here now. Leave. I'm gonna call the police on you. I'm gonna call Joe on you. You know what I'm gonna do. He ain't gonna play when he get here.
And Joe came and he didn't play. But because the producer's knocking on the door. We got.
But by that time,
4 minutes. We got 4 minutes to come up with a solution.
Well, I wish it was that easy, Dre. But it's obvious, some time to get to the solution. First, we got to point out the problem. I think we did a pretty good job of that tonight. I hope we do this again pretty soon. I'm gonna leave it up to you fellas at that.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say that the first thing is I showed the Nazario video to show the importance of staying calm and not necessarily strict compliance, but being calm and being the one who doesn't escalate the situation. Because if you escalate the situation in any way, these people have no hesitation when it comes to killing you. And guess what? They get to go home to their wives and children at the end of the night and say, I did a good job today. I killed me. So our first goal is survival. And once we understand who we're dealing with, these are people that don't treat us as human beings. They don't respect anything about us. So we have to give them absolutely no reason whatsoever to pull that trigger because they're just looking for one.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. I would have to say, I know it sounds funny, but folks, it's better to be a live chicken than a dead duck.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go. Green, the doctor right here.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What you got to say? Because the producer don't play. She'll pull the plug.
She's knocking on the door. She's knocking on the door.
Well, man, we're gonna have to figure out what to do, man, at a later time, man. We kind of extended the conversation a little bit longer than I expected, but we gotta try to find a way to get some cameras, like you said, man. Get some cameras and gotta learn some ways of acting and being, and ways to protect ourselves, man, to avoid these kind of instances, man.
Right. Agreed.
We got to find some way to protect ourselves and to remove ourselves from harm, man. They want us to die. I hate to say that, but that's what it seems like, don't it?
That's what it seems like. I mean, it's too many instances. I mean, how many just here tonight? We pointed out 3 or 4 instances, and none of us are connected other than this YouTube stream, but we're all in agreement to the same thing. So
we got to find a way to, look out after our own interest and stay away from harm, man. And
right.
It's hard to do in this culture, man, where
right.
it's danger lurking everywhere, man.
Right.
Danger lurking every damn where. But we're gonna find a way, bro. We're gonna find a way to deal with this crazy shit that we got going on.
And one thing I will add is that we have to get together and understand our rights as human beings, understand our rights, and we may have to sometimes cede those rights in order to survive. But guess what? You take it to them in court, make them pay through their wallets.
Yep.
Yep. That's it.
Do what the small hats do. I'm gonna say this real quick. Like Greg Gorilla say, make sure you got get you a low $30 GoPro. Keep it in the house because and keep it in the car because it's a wide angle lens. It's wider than an actual camera, your phone, right? Because they may take your phone or whatever, but you can hide the camera where it can show and it's always fixated on you, where you can turn it on instantly. Have an extra driver's license in the car, so you ain't got to reach for your wallet. As soon as they pull you over, license registration on the dashboard, hands on the goddamn steering wheel. Turn the light on in the goddamn car, so when they roll up, the windows is already rolled down. You looking forward, so they can't say nothing.
Yeah, they can't catch you reaching or nothing.
Nothing.
You going into the glove? Oh, he went into the glove compartment to get his registration. He was pulling out a gun.
Right.
Nothing. Keep the front of your goddamn car clean. Get all of that McDonald's and all of that extra shit out of the front of your goddamn car. Like, keep your shit clean, concise, and whatever. You pull over, here you go. Do you know what I pulled you over for? No, I do not. You were doing X, Y, and Z. Don't try to argue out of it. You're not Becky, and you ain't Chad. I was? Oh, I didn't know. But if you say so, officer, that's what I was doing. Are you going to give me a ticket or a citation? If he says, I'm going to write you a ticket, here you go. If he says anything other than the fact of what he's stopping you for, do you have anything in the car? No. Do you need to call your supervisor on the scene?
And do not consent to any searches because they will try to stick that in. Can we search your vehicle? No.
You know what I'm saying? No. And then if they say, well, you need to get out of the car, then what you do is just like Lazario did. Put your hands out the window, have them open the fucking door, have them dig their hand and open and get you out of the car, and then whatever after that. Don't say nothing. Don't talk to them past that. Because now they've done too much. Because they already violated your rights by arresting you, but you want to get home safe. And now it's recorded and all of that, then you can sue their ass to the high heaven. And then they'll learn. They'll learn. So that's all I got to say. We'll come up with more solutions as we keep doing this. I'm glad that the doctor was here, joined us up. Come over at any time. We got to go to your channel and support also the elder and Chandra here and Char Willie for letting us take over the panel. We're only over by 2 minutes. Char, I know you're in the back. She's about to come up right now.
We out here.
We out. Thank you for having me, man.
This is Char Willie
hope to
from the
speak to you all again.
JustAskChar Advice channel. Join me and Classic Ruby for a radio segment called Keep the Beat. We broadcast every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from Classic R&B Jams, CRBJ. We interact with the audience in the chat room where you'll have access to emojis, gifts, and the lively conversation. Press the icon that is a speaker, then press play radio. After a 15-second commercial, all the fun will begin. If you miss the live broadcast, you can listen to the replays from Mixcloud. Follow my channel on Mixcloud, JustAskChar Advice channel, and you will receive notifications when the show has been uploaded. We hope to see you soon. And until then, enjoy this show.